Today's episode is brought to you by Element, a tasty electrolyte drink mix with everything that you need and nothing that you don't. In other words, no sugar, no artificial coloring, no artificial ingredients, no gluten, no fillers, and no BS. With Element, I love the watermelon. The watermelon tastes freaking awesome. I drank 1 pack every day, no matter what. People that train out here, it's sitting out here for them all the time. The boxes don't last very long. Right now, Element is offering Table Talk listeners a free sample pack with any purchase. That's 8 single serving packages free with any Element order. Get yours at drinkelement.com/Table Talk. The deal is only available through the link in the description. The other thing is, if you don't like it, you can just give it away to a salty friend and Element will give you a 100% refund. No risk, money back guarantee. Head over to drinkelement.com/Table Talk. Americ Health is a premium telehealth platform specializing in hormone optimization and preventative medicine. Are you looking to optimize your health in and out of the gym, improve recovery, sex drive, and quality of life? Have you tried speaking to your health professional about this and have gotten the cold shoulder, stereotyped, or just told it's part of getting older? You just go to americhealth.com/Table Talk and you can create your own lab, or you can take labs that we've had set up for them, which are based upon the same labs that I've been doing over the last 15 years. Or you can use their guided optimization. With this, they'll put you in touch with a patient care coordinator, which is actually pretty cool because you get to sit down and speak to somebody that can understand what you're looking for from hormone optimization and the preventative medicine standpoint. After that conversation, they'll determine which labs that you should and which tests you should have done, and then from there, get the labs done. They'll review those labs with you and put you in touch with one of their hormone optimization specialists that can determine which supplementation that you should use over the counter or prescription. americhealth.com/Table Talk. The discount code is Table Talk. Today's episode is brought to you by First Detachment. Are you looking for a supplement brand that truly understands hardworking athletes? Look no further than First Detachment. Wendy's real world experience is what I would consider, and they consider, battle tested. I have known Justin Harris for pretty close to 2 decades. And if there's anybody that I trust with nutritional and supplement needs, it's Justin Harris. If you guys have followed me and have followed the podcast, you pretty much already know how I feel about the supplement industry. For me to get behind any brand, I have to trust the brand and I have to trust the person both. And I'm pretty sure you guys all know why. When it comes to creating formulas and putting products on the market, and there's nobody that I trust more than Justin Harris. While I love all of their products, I'd suggest that you check out the Field Rations and WTH first. Go to www.firstdetachment.com and use the code TableTalk10 to save 10% off each order. The link is in the description.
Today's episode is brought to you by elitefts.com. Founded in 1998 with the primary aim to live, learn, and pass on. Please help Elite FTS support this mission by smashing the like button, leaving a comment, sharing with a friend, and thinking of us for your training needs. If you can put it in a gym bag or load weights on it, Elite FTS has it.
What's going on? I'm Dave Tate. We are broadcasting from the middle of the Elite FTS weight room, where the underground still thrives and you're part of the crew. It's time to sit down, keep it real, and cut the bullshit. Welcome to Table Talk.
He's a little stressed out. And he had a great quote. They asked him.
All right, what's up, guys? We're back with another edition of Table Talk. Today, my guests
I was saying something important. God damn it, Dave.
Jim Wendler and Jason Pegg. There's no introduction needed for Jim. Jason, we're just going to kind of dial it back to bring people up to speed that may not know. Used to compete in powerlifting like forever ago. And
it was good.
What's this? 920 squat, 300 bench, 725 deadlift. Then you did some raw shit. You did squat 1,000 in the gym.
Yep.
So I did see that.
It still counts.
So that still counts. You know, became part of Team Elite FTS in 2009. Was wounded in Afghanistan in 2005. currently is working, I believe, what is it?
Fireman.
Fireman. So,
Yeah.
and we'll bring everybody up to speed on all that. There's, as to note this from the very beginning, this could go sideways really quick, which will be, the live video will stay up for the time period that the live video is up. But if for some reason we have to not post the live video, it will be posted on the Discord, and we'll go that direction there. Just kind of putting that out there, because this is gonna be a good time. The
thing, Juliet,
Yeah.
as I'm leaving, she says, you work with kids, you keep your mouth fucking shut.
Yeah, which isn't gonna happen.
That's like, I'm like,
Which isn't gonna happen.
I know that you need Peg in your life, but he needs to be here and not on fucking radio.
A couple sponsor call outs real quick that are updates is with Merrick Health. We just set up a Table Talk checkup panel. So instead of the full panel that you would get, which is like $500 or something like that, we've created a checkup panel, which doesn't have everything that's in the full, but it still covers all the sex hormones, prostate health, thyroid, neurosteroids, blood, insulin, iron. I had vitamin D put in there, as well as DHEA and inflammation markers, lipid panels, and all the other shit. So if you go to the description, and the discount code is Table Talk, and it will save you 10% on that panel. We still suggest that you get the full panel at least once a year, but if you're getting your blood work done, you should get it done more than once per year. This kind of fills that gap without having to redo some of the same things over. With 1AD, I want to call out the QRF. As we're talking about like the hormones, and you know your hormones fuck your livers up, right? And the kidneys up. With the QRF, which they just rebranded and relabeled, it has NAC in it for as long as the government is going to allow NAC to be sold, because it's one of those things that actually works and it's getting ready to be pulled off from the market, just like some of the other shit in the past. It's got milk thistle, and I always say this wrong, tuca, as far as the liver support. So I highly recommend the 1AD QRF, their WTF, which is their pre-workout. I'm not a big fan of pre-workouts, as you all know, because I think that they're stupid as fuck, and the beta-alanine just makes your butthole itch. But meanwhile, I'm drinking Monsters like they're going out of style. Their pre-workout is the perfect blend of what you need for the training without kind of like going over the top with overstim. And the one thing that 1AD does, and Justin Harris does, is they only put in the products the ingredients that they actually need in the product. They don't throw a bunch of other products in there that are unnecessary. So check them out in the description tab. 10% discount with a discount code TableTalk10. That administrative shit off of the table. What I want to start with before we go any further, because every time Jim's out here, the fucking Wendler Warmup thing comes up over and over and over, like a million times, probably the same person for all I know. So I did a very simple thing. I just Google searched it, which took it to YouTube, to a YouTube search, and I found the Wendler Warmup. So we're going to play that real quick, so that finishes all the questions about the Wendler Warmup. So Owen, go ahead and play that. Yeah.
What happened, man?
My warm-up hasn't changed.
John's over here is talking to me about something random, and this is what I did.
Warm up 3 or 4 times a day.
Dude, I need to rub one out so goddamn bad. And I got Easy Rider here.
Yeah.
Is that it?
I'm dying right now,
Yeah.
so before I train, I gotta take care of some business. I mean, I'm not even joking.
Wash your fucking hands, dude.
That's what I call a functional warm-up.
Was she the ballerina?
Yeah, she's a brunette. Like,
How'd the warm-up go?
yes. Yeah.
Dave, I feel about 10 pounds lighter.
I got Rich.
Yeah, is Rich back there?
You have no idea how good I feel right now, man. I'm probably having an awful workout because I'm all tensed up still. But I'm pretty happy, man.
Use a forward grip, reverse grip.
Forward, just regular grip. Forward grip. Right hand. And a mighty yield today. Mighty yield.
This just reminded me of something else really fucked up that I gotta go back to. The that's the Q&A thing that they did. Around that same time, this is completely non-related, but this is kind of how these podcasts go. The moment that I realized that my future or any chance of me making any type of comeback into powerlifting was when shit became a little bit harder to find, and then you were putting shit in a Coke, you know, like drops.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you're like, here, try this. And you put like 2 drops in my 32-ounce fucking Pib or whatever it was. This was the grossest shit ever. And it like tore my throat apart, gave me heartburn for the whole rest of the day.
That means you know it's working.
Yeah, I know. At that point, I'm like, you know what? I'm not willing to do this.
Those were good days,
I'm not
man.
doing it, you know? And
I remember I got some stuff from my good friend, and and I'm not going to tell you what it was. Anyway, so after 2 weeks, I am fucking jacked, and I can't breathe. I'm like, so I told him, I'm like, I can't believe 50 milligrams.
There's no way that was just...
He goes, 50 milligrams, each cc is 100. And I was like, taking 200. And I was,
yeah.
Oh, so 2 weeks, man. Holy shit, though.
Yeah. And I figured, I mean, this is like you do with all that stupid shit. You figure the more fluid you dilute it in, it's going to make it better.
Yeah.
I just blew more.
No. It's way worse. Way worse.
I remember I pushed the prowler in that 2 weeks, and I remember I pushed it about 40 yards or 30 yards, and my thighs were so pumped up, and I was so cramped up just from pushing, walking, that I had to sit down. I'm like, I can't even move anymore. And I was like, this is awesome, but I can't do anything.
Just leave it in the street. Nobody will steal this.
Well, this was at the old place on Maple, but I'll never, I'm like, shit, that's how powerful. That's why I see some of these guys who supposedly take all this stuff. I don't know if they're genetic anomalies or they're just lying, because I don't know how they move.
I don't know either.
Because some of these, I don't know.
I had somebody a couple weeks ago show me, and it was a document on the Word thing on fucking iPhone, notepad.
Yeah.
And it was different people's cycles, right? It's like, because whoever he gets his shit from is the same person that these people did.
Yeah.
And when he first showed it to me, I'm looking at it, and my immediate thought was, oh, this is their order. You know,
Yeah.
like, this is what they ordered for like 8 weeks, right? And it's like, no. And what threw me off was the amount of milligrams of orals per day. Because it said like 150 to 200. I'm like, they're not ordering like 200 milligrams for an 8-week cycle.
Yeah.
You know, it's not what it is. And then he's like, no, this is per week.
Oh, my God.
And it was the average between, and there were big names associated with it, which is probably bullshit, right? But the average was between 7 and 15 grams a week.
Jesus.
Mark Bartley said it best. They traded one gear for another.
Oh, yeah.
Good thing they took those knee wraps off.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I guess now we got the QRF, which is going to save them from all that, right?
But holy shit. Like, it's crazy, right?
Yeah.
And and the other thing is, sometimes I think these are the guys selling stuff, so they're telling all these guys.
Yeah. Well, in this case, that's where that list came from, somebody that was selling.
But maybe, I've heard stories, and, maybe some of this. It's funny because when we were training, it was guys would lie consistently about how little they took.
Yeah.
I call it the Carolina CC. The guys from like North Carolina, South Carolina, just taking
CC.
250, and then like 2 weeks before the meet, I take 1 Anadrol a day.
Yeah.
And you're like, dude, you're fucking as red as that chair right there. Go fuck you, and you're squatting 1,200. You're not.
Yeah.
Well, everybody now is on the TRT dose.
Oh yeah, it
right?
doesn't count.
Competitors. Right?
Yeah,
We were talking beforehand about TRT for real, the TRT doses, which you made a really good point.
Yeah.
That expand on that a little bit.
Well, I never heard this mentioned, but I'm sure someone has. It's especially with, obviously, let's say you're over 40 or something. One of the important things about TRT that I don't think people really bring up is, for an older guy, when you're on TRT, you don't have to do as much volume, lift as heavy, all that other stuff, to maintain muscle mass and strength, and that saves your joints, saves everything. And I think that's super important. That doesn't mean you're taking a gram a week, but just a little boost, man, can keep your knees and back and neck, all that stuff, without having to do a million sets like you used to do. And of course, with our background, you don't have to do all that stuff anyway when you have that base, but still, man, it takes its toll. And so I just, if you are going to go down that route, I think it's as long as you know what you're doing and know, you're taking a drug. And I think people need to understand that.
Yeah. When I think with training, I heard this explained one time that when you're younger, like the kids that you're working with, and probably who knows on the age, say under 25. You know, the first thing is to train hard. Your first priority is to train hard. The second priority is to not get hurt.
Yeah.
Right. Then you start to get a little older, you get a little banged up. The first priority is to not get hurt. And then the second is to train hard. Then the third stage is when you get, 55, 60 or whatever it is just keep training, because that's going to enable the quality of life.
Yes.
When you're 65, to be able to get the milk out of the fucking container.
Yeah. Well,
stand out of bed, have sex.
I trained.
That's all I'm worried about.
Yeah, I trained early this morning. I didn't do my usual stuff because it was early, and I don't usually. But anyway, I'm like, all I care about is feeling okay after this workout.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I care. As long as I feel fit and ready to go, I'll be solid. So, I just. The older I get, man, like we're talking earlier about my oldest son, and he trains like a fucking animal. And I'm like, man, it always makes me happy because he's doing it, and then makes me mad because I'm like, I can't even come close to the shit that he's doing. And that's the circle of training life, And but the good thing is I don't need to do that, that anymore.
Yeah.
I can still be in fairly good shape. Like, I'm not going to go play a football game or pass selection anytime soon, but you know what? I don't need to.
Yeah.
So that's the other good thing.
That cracks me up, because when I was driving in here this morning, For Those About to Rock came on, the fucking radio or whatever it was. I like turning it up, then it hit me. I'm like, you know what? I used to like listen to this for a half hour before football practice in junior high, just to fucking go out there and fucking kill people,
Yeah.
And then I, then it's like I used to listen to this and then afterwards I'd think about training, and now it's like I'm like, no, I'm turning it down. Like, I've heard this fucking thing way too much, like maybe in the gym, But then it dawned on me that I don't even think about my training, where before I would think about it.
Yeah.
Like the whole drive in, you're just like fucking taking check drops, and banging your head against the steering wheel, listening to Sepultura to come in and warm up.
Yeah. Well, I always, when I train my youngest son, we train 3 days a week, and that's when I introduce him to all the music. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, today we listened to Lord Mantis recently, and it finally got him to understand. Like, I asked, like, who plays drums in Slayer? Dave Lombardo.
Duh.
So, but this is like my way of like introducing him to this shit, and then it makes the training tolerable for me. So, because kids will drive me nuts. So,
I'm gonna stay on that theme, because going back to the Q&A that you guys did, there were 4 bands mentioned.
Oh boy.
Acid Bath.
Yeah.
Man is the Bastard.
Yeah.
And these are always funny to me because I don't know shit about any of this. Buried at Sea, and then Electronic Wizard.
Electric Wizard.
See?
Electronic
Yeah, Electronic Wizard, right? So you both jumped my shit about that. So
seagulls.
yeah, so what are the bands now? Are they still the same, or what's changed?
Well, do you want to?
I'm fucking old now, and I just don't I don't fucking care. You know what I mean? Like, some will come up on Spotify, and I'm like, wow, this sucks. And still listen to fucking Pantera, and my kids are like, oh yeah, Dad, you should listen to this. I'm like, what is this? Fucking trap music. I'm like, what do you guys go to high school and sell drugs? Like, you fucking idiots. So it's like rap music. Lorna Shore, new band, not really. The vocalist is fucking nuts. Band's kind of weird. Music's, but the vocalist is insane. Range is just nuts. That's probably about it. But you find these old bands are releasing stuff now still. Mm-hmm. And what is that? Alice in Chains?
Well, fucking Metallica just put something out, right? Aren't they like 80?
Dude, fuck them. I hate it. I'll never listen to them again. I went to a show. This was after they went straight gay.
Straight gay?
Yeah, blowing each other. But they the show, and you're like, it's all fucking awesome, hammered, drunk. And they come out and they bring out 4 chairs. And they play the Four Horsemen acoustic. I literally got up and left, and I'm never going to another show again. Fuck these dudes.
Yeah, that was my favorite song in 6th grade. Was the Four Horsemen.
You have stolen my childhood. I hate all of you.
I love that riff.
Still should have been Lars.
Yeah.
I'm done with it.
I think the couple things I do is I catch up on all the stuff that I may have missed. in the 90s, in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
And there's so much stuff out there. I just got Plague Wielder by Dark Throne. I hadn't had that. And so and it's hard to find some of this stuff because the stuff I like is usually fairly hard to find. And you got to kind of buy it used. And shit, I just spent like $60 on like a 4-song EP. And it's like for a black metal band called War. And whatever, it doesn't matter. So I think I don't subscribe to any music magazines. I used to subscribe to Decibel for about 10 years, and I just stopped because it's just kind of, I don't know, everything became political, and I'm just tired of it. So I think that's, and the big thing for me is, with music, is each of the bands that I really like bring me back to a certain time in my life. And I love black metal. Because I like it, but it brings me back to a certain time in my life that I really enjoy, and like that's why I love listening to it. I mean, I love the music itself, but it's really cool because anytime I put like the band Floor on, or I Hate God, I'm instantly transported to here or here.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing.
It's like Samantha Fox.
What's that?
Like Samantha Fox.
Samantha Fox. Yeah. But it's me. I always try to find bands that maybe I missed, or maybe I don't have their release, or whatever. So I'm not, it's the thing too is, like, people ask like, hey, did you hear the new this? I'm like, well, it's not better than Rain and Blood. Like, to me, Rain and Blood is like one of the greatest albums. I'm like, why not just listen to this? Like, there's so many great things that I already have. I'd rather just listen to a lot of that. And maybe that makes me getting old, but I have so much music, Dave, it's retarded. Like, I have just stacks of stuff everywhere. And, so it's like you can't listen to it all, and I'm not here to collect it. Like maybe years and years. Like when I first got a job, I had a steady paycheck. I didn't have any bills. Like I saved $6,000 my first year working here. I didn't make that much.
I know.
Cheap fuck.
And well, I didn't. And I was like, I made but I would every paycheck, I think I'd buy, maybe 4 or 5 CDs or something. And I just started, because I missed, all those years in college. I didn't have any fucking money. And so I'm not, I don't know. To be honest, if I'm really being honest, after seeing the reaction to the shitty COVID regulations and seeing how many of these supposed anti-authoritarian bands couldn't wait to spread their butt cheeks for the government and take a fucking diseased cock, I was fucking furious. Like, these guys couldn't wait to put a mask on and tell everyone to shut up and listen to the government. And it just made me sick. It really did. And I guess it's my fault for expecting, I always kind of put it on myself, that why would I expect them to be any different?
Yeah. Well, when the lyrics and shit are anti-government to start.
Yeah, or anti-everything.
Say Pink Floyd was anti-government for forever, right? And then it flipped over too. It goes against what they were preaching for years and years and years.
Yeah, I just get up, so that kind of soured me on a lot of stuff. So, but at the same time, that's still, I don't want to, like, it's still an important part of my life. I don't want to dismiss it, whatever. So, but anyway, it's
The other, I Hate God's playing Columbus next week.
Yeah, I'm not going to that.
Well, fuck you.
Well, they only have one guitarist now. Like, it's supposed to be a 2-guitar band. I've seen them like 3,000 times. I got you. Yeah, that's right. You sent me a text. I just realized that.
Yeah, we were talking about that. The texts that go unread until you send Juliet a text.
Yeah. Just reach out to my secretary. She'll get me scheduled. Let me know.
Yeah.
Dude, my parents don't even call me anymore. They call my wife.
That's perfect, though. You've set that up perfect. There's no complaints about that at all.
Just lots of jealousy around here.
Yeah.
Although, what did I send you? Oh, I sent Peg a Valentine's Day card that a kid wrote a soldier. So
God, it was so bad.
Does that make sense? So, like, as a part of care package, these soldiers would get it says, "Dear American soldier, thank you so much for fighting the war," or whatever. You're probably gonna die.
That was essentially what it was. Like, I hope you enjoy this card because you're probably gonna die
see your family and never see your family again. Thank you for everything. Signed, Justin.
Yeah,
and it's all in kids' handwriting and stuff. You're probably gonna die. and I'll never see your family again. It's fucking happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah. For those that don't know your story, when did you enlist and why?
I enlisted in 2001.
When? What month?
It was October.
All right, so you were fueled up.
No, it wasn't it wasn't like that. It was cool because it's one of those, like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, if you take a job, you want to be able to do the fucking job.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, nobody wants to play
Yeah.
NFL on the practice squad.
Yeah.
You know, same type deal. But I was working two just like shit jobs. At the time, they were okay. Nothing I wanted to do as an adult, you know. Still at that point had aspirations of education and was like, well, I'm not going to take out $6 million in loans. Mom and dad were right at that threshold, like, you know, they don't make enough to where they could pay for it, but they make too much to where the government's just going to hand over fist throw me money. So it's like, well, this is an option. Let's go do this. Like, we'll just try it. I think they were giving 50 or 60 grand, some stupid for...
Like a signing bonus?
No, like GI Bill.
Yeah.
Was like 50 or 60 grand. There were signing bonuses for different jobs. So it was like,
What was your MOS?
11 Bravo, infantry.
Your infantry.
Yeah,
All right.
jump out of planes, shoot guns, blow stuff up, get blown up.
Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. So,
I mean, you know, it happens.
yeah, that was 2000. What'd you say, 2001?
Yeah, it was, my enlistment date was October 2nd,
So when did you get blown up? Was that
2005.
2005.
How many deployments did you do?
3.
Okay, so I'm okay. All right, keep going, Dave.
Yeah.
I'm
So
sorry.
when did you? When
By
was
the way,
first
so everyone
deployment?
knows, I met Peg in at Louis'
It was the,
first pro-am.
yes,
And me and Deweese were sitting outside of the hotel just getting hammered.
traded whiskey for
Fucking
cigarettes.
smoking smokes and stuff, and I guess that's when I met you, and then we've been friends ever since. So,
Yes.
Anyway, so just go ahead. I'm sorry. I just want everyone to know, like, me and Peg, my wife's always like, you need to get with Jason. You're fucking annoying right now. You're just out of your mind.
So
what-
he keeps you stable.
Well, what's fucked up is whenever
calming presence.
when Juliet and I first got together, Peg was over or something, and she's like, I've never seen two guys go so far off the fucking rails so quickly. We've gotten a little older, and we're obviously, he's got a good job, and I have to work with kids and stuff, so we gotta be a little smart. But I guarantee you,
We don't play Tiger Woods anymore.
we go shooting. You know, when we go out shooting, it goes. We catch up, and then it just becomes a shit fest right away. So bad that the guy who runs the fucking gun range his wife hates Jason. Jason.
Yeah, there are a lot of people.
And it was funny because when I think Greg told me that, one of the guys that works there, he's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, Jared's wife fucking hates spinning. And I was like, oh yeah. It wasn't even, what did he do or what happened? Like, maybe she heard him wrong. I'm like, nah, she heard him right.
Yeah, probably. Which it's funny because if you know Jared, it's like, really? That's
Well, I know.
I'd say that's pretty tame.
I know that Jared keeps his mouth shut in the house. All right, so go ahead. So
Yeah.
2001 October.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when was the first deployment?
It would have been, God damn, I don't,
So how long was basic? 12 weeks?
no, ours was jacked up because they do like a Christmas Exodus. So like I'm pretty sure, I don't know if the Marine Corps does it, but I know all the other branches do it. But essentially like 2 weeks between Christmas and New Year's, like they're not doing any training. So I was there for like a month and then get sent home and then come back and like, they're just like, you know what, you were here 2 weeks. Fuck you, we're just starting over now.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So it was, I don't remember how long it was, but like with the infantry stuff at the time, you did basic training and then rolled right into the job stuff. Because it was all at Fort Benning School for Boys. So you do that, and then Airborne School was there, RIP was there. So honestly, like I don't even remember the dates.
Yeah.
It's forever.
Yeah, but so let's just, how about when you first deployed though?
Where was the first deployment?
Afghanistan. It was
Had been obviously, what, April?
middle late 2002 because we were there for Christmas.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Kind of wild, kind of dumb. It was one of those like nobody knew what the fuck was going on. You know, like they didn't even have like our uniforms. Like we had the desert uniforms, but they didn't have the armor or any shit like that. So we all had the fucking like green armor, all the rigs, like all the equipment and stuff was like the woodland camo.
Oh shit! In the desert.
Over the desert shit, but it's one of those like, I mean, like if you've ever seen camo, you're like, this is like you're just out here LARPing, like it's not camouflaged at all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's completely flat and it's all open. You know what I mean? So it's like, oh yeah, you just got 150 dudes walking around, like there's no blending into fucking anything. It didn't matter.
Where in, do you remember where in?
We spent a lot of time in the, always far east, close to Pakistan. A lot of time in a little shithole town called Deir Awood. It was actually, at the time, it was the home, if you will, of Taliban. Mullah Omar, guy that started the Taliban, it was his hometown.
What's it, what, can you spell that town?
Dehrawod.
Okay. So you were on, was it south?
Northeast.
Okay, so you were, all right. So at least the Northern Alliance was technically...
We didn't really fuck with them. Like they had to, there was a SF team, and essentially we were just doing local security for them.
Yeah.
We'd go out, flip patrols, and stay on their towers and shoot at people that would come out and shit like that. But they had a bunch of dudes, they were Hazaris.
Yeah.
They were from way northeast Afghanistan, but they all look Chinese. Like just where they had, because it's, you know, Afghanistan borders China in that part of the country. So they all look Chinese. And these dudes are fucking just animals. Animals. You know, so they were doing their shit with them, and we would go and man the turrets on their trucks and do local security while they're kicking in doors and shit like that. And then we did that for probably 6 months, 5 months. All the shit in Iraq kicked off when we were in Afghanistan. And they just, I still remember fucking Geraldo.
No, yeah.
This is out walking.
Did you ever hear about this story?
No.
This is awesome. So you know who Geraldo is, right?
Yeah.
All right.
He's out like, he comes out like he's going to do something with us, like he was with CNN or whoever.
So he's in Iraq. Yeah. All right. So that's important.
No, he's in Afghanistan.
Okay, whatever.
He's come out with us
All right.
and like, he's
so he's
like he's signing shit and like taking pictures of guys, and I ask him, I'm like, did you ever find? Oh, God, damn, what's that fucking
Al Capone.
Yeah, like, did you guys ever find Al Capone's vault? Like, if you remember, he had that thing on WGN.
I remember
like,
that.
Oh yeah.
Capone's vault, this big huge thing, and they opened it up. Like I still remember, just disappointment.
Yeah.
The dude is just like full of fucking dirt, dirt and like a dead snake. I'm like, wow, that's totally worth hiding.
Coke can from 30 years ago.
But I asked him about that. And I'm like, so any luck with that vault? And he like his face is just like he wanted to punch me.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Jerry.
Yeah.
His real name's Jerry Rivers, by the way.
Yeah, go for it, pal. But he didn't. But it was funny because he was talking like he's doing all this shit. He had 2 local dudes that carried all of his shit. And
He had like a Sherpa?
Yeah, he had 2 of them, and he had a ton of shit. And he would just like set his little camera up and blah blah. But we actually watched him invade Iraq, laying in a fucking field in the middle of Afghanistan. And I remember probably one of the most soul crushing moments of my life. Like we're supposed to be moving and we stop, and they're like, "Oh, the commander's coming out," you know. And of course it's the media bullshit. And this dude flies out with Sergeant Major. Talks to our company commander. They're out there 10 or 15 minutes and they fucking leave. And it comes down, they're like, yeah, shit in Iraq just started. You're not going home. We're like, what?
When did Geraldo, was this, the global war on terror was, 60 trillion years.
Yeah.
Is that when he exposed their position? Remember he drew the map in the sand, or was that the first Gulf War? That couldn't be the first Gulf War.
I don't fucking remember. I know what you're talking about, but
so if anyone doesn't know, Jerry Rivers, Geraldo was somewhere. Let's just pretend it's Iraq. I'm not sure. And he was reporting. He's like, "We are right here, right now.
Yeah.
The enemy's here. We're gonna do this flanking mission here."
If you
and
walk,
it's like, dude,
you walk 150 meters this way.
We've got, we got traps. We got a Delta team over here, and we got a quick QRF over here.
Yeah, it was stupid shit like that. And they're like, bro.
Call sign Bravo. Call sign Todd.
Yeah, if you were to shoot a rocket right here, you would kill a bunch of people that you can't see.
Boy, he could fucking. Oh, that was one of those. Oh.
Yeah, I remember that. Like, and they're like, hey, fucking beat it. Like, we're gonna revoke your press pass, cocksucker.
So how long was that deployment? Because
it ended up being like 9.5 months.
Yeah.
So
and
you went to Iran. You went to Iraq.
Yeah.
So you went from Afghanistan. Did you ever go home from?
Dude, we were back like I want to say like 2 months, and then they're like, "Oh, hey, deployment orders."
Oh shit!
Like,
So where did you go in Iraq?
we were in Baghdad.
Oh,
Dude, it was awesome. You fucking kill anybody you wanted to. Nobody cared. Like, just the fucking. I mean, like, people shoot at you all the time, and you shoot back at people. And, like, you just be sitting there. Like, I can remember being on the roof, like talking on the phone to my mom, or shit like that. And you just see Tracer. Just wild. And they're like, whoa, hey, gotta go. So we're about to be busy. Talk to you later, Mom. Shit like that. Like, it was just nuts. Like,
when the Arnold went down in the COVID year 2020, me, Peg, and Phil Stevens, and one of Phil's buddy who was a Marine, we all went out to dinner at a fairly nice restaurant. So I'm probably the best dressed out of anyone, and that doesn't mean anything. No, it doesn't.
It's a very low bar.
Yeah, it's just because I had a hoodie on.
Yeah.
And so
In your black shorts.
yeah, and so me and Phil were sitting there, and Phil's buddy, God, I can't remember his name, was in the Marines, and he was somewhere in Iraq. But these guys were trading stories at a very high-end steak restaurant about just fucking, just lighting people up, and I was just like, thank God, like, because at this time, like, people were pretty scared at the time, so the place wasn't super busy. But I remember, like, if there was some family, and these guys are telling their stories about being on rooftops, this guy's rooftop stories were fucking crazy. And then he has one when he was on when you're on the turret, you had I think I'm going to get this right.
Fucking Mark 19.
Mark 19, which is an automatic grenade launcher, right?
It's a very effective weapon against human targets. We'll just leave it at that.
But the thing is when you shoot it, it's got to go a certain distance, right? Like an RPG doesn't, like if you shoot an RPG and just hit this, it's not going to.
Yeah, they all have minimum arming ranges.
So, but I'm not going to tell this story. So if you want to tell it, buddy.
It's a very effective target against, or a very effective weapon against human targets.
So he's in the turret.
It's literally, the round is essentially
And the target is before the range of when it would.
Perhaps.
Yeah, but so
That
if I shoot this at you, it's not exploding.
It's going through me.
It will go through.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing in this story. Dude, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. But it's a very effective round.
Yeah.
It's designed, I think the max effective range of this round is about 2,200 meters.
Oh my God. So you're just going.
There's a lot of velocity, and
Yeah.
I think the arming range is like 100 meters. I don't remember. It's fucking long. Can't buy them anymore, so I'm not super concerned about it. But it's a very effective round. Just leave it at that.
Oh, man.
Nah, I mean,
It's all right. It just went through someone.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
Guy came out.
Super.
Jason was there.
Yeah, like them dudes, like, and it was all, like I said, like those dudes, in 2003 in Iraq are just fucking like they're idiots. Big deal is just like a internet flex, if you will. You know what I mean, like they run out, and it's not that they shot and killed you; it's that they ran out and they shot at you. So we get shot, like we'd be at this base and they'd fucking shoot at us, and there were a bunch of Iraqi police downstairs. And these fucking dudes, like, we'd take 2 rounds. You know what I mean? Like, you'd be like, oh, they're shooting at us again. These motherfuckers, dude, run out with their goddamn AKs, and they're just fucking ripping them in the air. Like, one dude's shooting it in the fucking retaining wall right in front of him. I'm like, he's got to be wearing that shit. It's 10 yards in front of him. And he's just hammering it. You know what I mean? Dude's like, but that's a big deal. They're all slapping high fives. And then
It's not about killing anyone. It's just about shooting the gun.
Yeah.
There's firing at everything.
Yeah. Nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's as effective as you stick your gun out there and fucking just shoot it in the fucking air.
Yeah.
So, but it was, they're all high fives and shit, but they're just like, those dudes are nuts. But it was like that for everybody.
How was that compared to Afghanistan?
Afghanistan was different because they're just like, you'd have like 2 or 3 dudes.
Those dudes fucking fought wars their whole life.
Yeah.
That's what we don't understand.
But at that time too, it was one of those, Afghanistan is so open, like where we were at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, you had special operations guys that were working inside of Kandahar and shit like that. Like everything we're doing is out in the middle of nowhere. So, imagine walking across the field, you're not going to have 100 dudes lined up, doing shit like that. But we're in Iraq, it was all Baghdad, it'd be like driving through downtown Columbus.
Yeah.
you know, the buildings aren't as tall,
yeah,
but
people coming out of everywhere.
Population densities,
Yeah.
very high, you know, things like that. So it's just different. But I mean, you know, when you're there, like everybody and their brother, you're like into like a kid that's, you know, very controlling parents, and he goes to college and just loses his fucking mind. You know what I mean? Just like, oh yeah, he's drunk every day and doing bong rips in the fucking hallways and shit like that. Like he just loses his mind. That's how these fucking people were. So now they've been captured, and I can't remember if they'd executed him yet or not. But just, you know, these people are like, well, I've been, you know, oppressed for so long, I'm just gonna go out here and do something fucking stupid. And
Yeah.
they did, and then they fucking paid for it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's, you know, at that point, like, they were all dumb, you know? Now,
Yeah.
like, later on as it went on, like, everybody that was stupid is fucking dead already.
Yeah.
You know,
You
they
know what I
started bringing, you know, people from other places.
Yeah, you know, you had fucking Syrians.
Yeah.
You know, you read, you know, you talk to these SF dudes, and they're talking about smoking Chechens.
Yeah.
You know, and they're like, wow, that's weird. Chechnya is nowhere close to
Yeah.
Iraq, but here they are.
Once those were much more highly trained in Iraq, especially, right?
We never ran across
Well, I
it,
know,
you
but
what
I'm
I mean?
saying, but that's when that shit went down. That's when the foreign.
Yeah, you know, but that was a lot of that, like I said, is, you know, dudes that are the special operations guys, which is shit that we didn't, you know, hear about. And like sometimes you'd see it or hear it, you know, because it's going on 2 or 3 miles away. And you're like, wow, that's not anything that we've got.
Who's over there?
Well, I mean, it's like we do.
Is that Geraldo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do stuff like they would do stuff at the same time. And we would have like our air support would be 2 Apaches. You know, you can look across the valley and the Ranger regiment's hitting something over there, and their air support is AC-130.
I was about to say.
You know what I mean? And it's got like this fuck, because everybody's got night vision on. It's got a strobe, like not a strobe, but a gigantic IR floodlight on the side, and it looks like it's fucking daytime over there. You flip your shit up and look, and you can't see anything.
What he's saying is he's got, how many guys were in your?
We had a platoon's like 50 dudes.
So 50 dudes, they get 2 Apaches. The Ranger guys got
They got 50 dudes, and they've got a fucking AC-130.
and whatever else they had,
Which,
yeah,
like,
lots of air support.
has all the cool highlight videos. Like, if you watch the shit from, like,
Dude, I
when
love
Afghanistan first comes out and the dudes are running, you see shit blowing up. Like, that's the AC-130.
But God was, I think that's what it is. The gun on that thing.
There are a lot of guns on that thing.
But it's like, I don't know. It's like 6 trillion rounds a minute, and it just sounds like death. Just those are the kind of things that when it hits you, it's if it
Just the
hits
volume.
your shoulders, your arms gone.
The volume of fire that thing gets is just insane. But like an AC-130 has a 105 millimeter howitzer.
That's okay. Never mind.
You know, which is an artillery piece. If I remember correctly, 2 40 millimeter cannons, which are like, you see the like the thermal video. I know you've seen it. The thermal videos of the dudes running around. You know, they're driving around. You see, the fucking car just blows the fuck up. Like that's that.
There's no car here anymore.
Yeah, it's just
The
like,
car is-
like the screen flashes just from the heat.
And it's gone.
Yeah. You know, it's just a smoking crater. Like that's that cannon that they use. And then a couple, probably 2 or 3 miniguns.
Yeah.
Shoots a 7.62. The rate of fire is like 3,000 rounds.
That's what I was talking
about.
Yeah.
So how long was the deployment for Iraq then? 9 months?
5, I think.
5? And then you're back here again.
Yep.
And then how long until you get called home?
I don't fucking. It was not very long.
I got a question for you.
3-4 months maybe.
But when you got home from Iraq, how long did you get to just be with your parents?
Well, I was married at the time,
Or whatever, you know what I'm saying?
but
with your family.
it's kind of weird because they have all sorts of like, and it's way more involved now. Like at the time, they were like, "Oh, think you're gonna kill yourself?" No. All right. Check that box off. Sign here that we talked to you about your mental health. Where now they do all this decompression and shit, but probably like 2 weeks.
And then you had to go back for training?
No,
start work
like
up?
we come back, you know, and you would get like, you got to turn in your weapons and all your gear and all that shit, and then you would get like 2 days, you know, and have to be back, and then they do all that processing and shit, and just, you know, putting stuff away, things
Red
like
tape
that.
bullshit.
Yeah, essentially, and then it was like you would get 2 or 3 weeks leave,
Okay.
and then come back and start training it. Yeah, stuff like that.
Where did you go after that one?
Afghanistan.
Yeah, went back to Afghanistan.
That's the lucky.
And that was like 6 weeks, just enough to get acclimated to the time change, and I got fucking blown up. Yeah.
And what happened there? I mean, how did that?
Well, what vehicle were you in?
What vehicle were
I
you
was
in?
riding in an up armored Humvee, which they had for a long time, like the ones we had in Iraq. Like, at no point was the government prepared for any of this shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we're in Iraq in 2003. We're literally riding around in a
Open air Jeep.
Yeah,
it was from MASH.
Dude, we had a machine gun mount that we had made out of a fucking tent stake. And
Oh my god!
Oh, so this wasn't even, it wasn't one of the, I can't remember the name of the things, but the off-road fucking war machines.
Oh yeah, now they've got like gangster shit.
Yeah.
We didn't have it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean, they didn't have the vehicles. Like, it was still the woodland green camo. Like, it didn't even have the desert spray paint on it.
Yeah.
But it was literally a tent stake that we had cut off.
Was it
and
named
used-
the Bang Bus? I sent
Yeah,
you
yeah,
that
yeah.
picture.
The
There was,
Bang
there,
Bus.
there was a video of, it must have been in Iraq or something, but I don't know what kind of vehicle that was. But on the back, it says, "Welcome to the Bang Bus" or something. Like, it was really done well. It was stenciled. Like, I was like, dude, those guys. But I saw a video of the motor pool in, I think it was Iraq. And there's dudes in the motor pool who were redneck engineering armor.
Dude, they're stupid.
They were over there trying to, like, listen, we need to see what we can do to keep the guys safe. And this is like me and you, like, putting our heads together, like, fuck, what can we put on here to save dudes?
Yeah, we had armor like that. They were literally
like,
we were working at a power plant. That was where we were working out of, you know, and they've got their guys there. They've got welders and shit like that. And we would trade these dudes cases of MREs, and they would take like 1/2 inch steel
and weld it
and
on.
like, well, they wouldn't weld it on. They just cut holes in it so you could see out of it, you know, and then
Murder holes.
Put some hinges on it. And it was funny because these fucking hinges are made out of aluminum. You know what I mean? They're through these doors, like a Jeep door. You know what I mean? It's just a fabric. So of course these goddamn things are fucking, the hinges immediately explode, and it's 5,000 pounds. It's like 1/2 inch steel. So we've got that shit, dude. Like, it's like
They didn't even-
550 cord and duct tape trying to hold it on. Like, you're getting in and out of this motherfucker like some
Someone's got to ride with the holding on. Got a little handle.
Now you just like, you go over, you know, onto the hood and off, and that's how you got in, and you climb in the back. But this machine gun mount we made literally was a tent stake with 1 inch tubular nylon and parachute cord. Just tied in and cranked down. Yeah. Yeah. And that we had you know, because it was when they were starting with the IEDs and stuff, we literally had, they were probably like 1/4 inch sheets of Kevlar that we would set down on the back and then put sandbags over it. But like, we're riding in the back, we're riding 4 dudes in the back, and we're just kind of like lassoed into it. You know, that way if it fucking rolls, you don't get, you know, or somebody rips through a corner, you don't just get thrown in the left.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it was just nuts. Stupid. You know, they just weren't ready for it at the time. But then when I got blown up, I was riding in they were up armored Humvees. They were essentially, they forget what they weighed. It was stupid, heavy. But they had armored them, bulletproof glass in the windows and shit like that. And they had air conditioning in them. Well, of course, like anything else in the military, it doesn't work.
It was heat.
Yeah.
Turn on the AC. Holy shit, is it
just
hot in here?
Nuclear hot. You know what I mean? It's 100.
Smells like a big fart.
Yeah, dude, it's 100. It's
Perfect.
110 degrees, and it's not like driving on roads out here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like driving through a fucking field. So we're going 5 miles an hour.
Yeah.
You know, so you're not getting any breeze. So I got
Yeah.
the fucking window down.
Yeah.
You know? And that was, you know, like, probably shouldn't have done it, but you know, up to that point, it's, you know,
It worked.
but I mean, you know, getting blown up is shit that happens to you. That doesn't happen to me. That happens to them. That doesn't happen to me. So I'm just rolling. Fucking next thing I know, I'm picked up, thrown in the other side of the fucking truck, bleeding all over myself.
Were you guys the first in a convoy?
No, we were third. But of course, and like looking back on it, it was so fucking stupid. One of the trucks had broken, so the commander's now riding with us, and he's got all his fucking space antennas and all this shit. So you got all these Humvees with like one antenna, and ours looks like a fucking porcupine.
I wonder where the guy is.
Yeah. You know what I mean? We got a trailer, and it's got
You got like a red arrows blinking.
yeah, blow this one up, shoot here.
Was that where you think that was remotely detonated?
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
There were 2 guys. Probably it was like springish. So the weed is roughly I don't know if you're sitting down eye level high. They're probably 100 yards deep in a field. With like a battery. They'd run det cord up to the rockets and just put a blasting cap. Fuse. They take the propellant off, so it's just a warhead. But detonated that and just blew the fuck out of the truck like it was new. And the trunk lid weighs like 600 pounds, and it blew the trunk lid off, like the overpressure from being like blew the trunk lid off. So it was pretty gangster.
Were you still in the truck?
Yeah.
All right, so you were strapped down, and
Yeah.
what would have happened if you didn't have your? I'm assuming you.
No, this was
thrown out.
different. I was riding in the back seat of one of those up.
Oh, okay.
But it literally
all
it
right.
picked me up, and I mean the windows are probably I don't know foot tall and 18 inches wide, like they're not like a car window. But it literally the overpressure picked me up and threw me over into the passenger side. So I was riding behind the driver, and it picked me up. And I mean it's deep, like these seats you're sitting in now, like it's like that in there. You know, it's not like a car seat where there's nothing on the sides. Like, it picked me up and threw me over. And I was like, ooh. It knocked me for a loop. Like, I think I showed you pictures of the fucking helmet.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I took a piece of shrapnel right behind the ear. And it's, I mean, it's Kevlar, like it's a helmet. You know?
Yeah.
It's made to withstand.
Yeah, and it's bent.
Wow.
You know, like, literally it's dented in. And it, you know, right behind the ear. So if I wouldn't have my helmet on, it wouldn't have mattered. I'd be dead as fuck. But, you know, arm almost came off. And, like, I can remember sitting there and being like,
Were you on the right side or left side?
I was on the driver's side.
And then
I got picked up and thrown across. It went off outside of my window.
Okay, I see. So here.
Yeah, probably here to that camera. A little further. Like, it was pretty close. And it just, like, felt like my face was on fire. And it was one of those, like, I was probably fairly concussed. So I'm like, what in the fuck is going on here? And then I'm like, oh. And I look, and there's just fucking blood everywhere. And for some reason, I don't know why, they showed us these videos when you get in country, like, oh, this is what landmines do to you. And some dude's face was, like, fucking blown off. Like, half his face is off. And I'm like, oh, my face is off. Yeah. I'm, like, touching my face. And, like, there's a little bit.
I want to see what's the second thing you touched?
My penis, of course.
When I got hit by a car, I wiggled my toes and I grabbed my dick.
Yeah. Just going to masturbate. Apparently it was improper time for that.
Well, when is the proper time if this isn't?
Just here for the violence. But, you know, I'm looking and I can see there's little, like, shrapnel holes in my sleeve. And I look and there's just like, I'm like, well, that's probably what that is. So I just popped it. You know, everybody had tourniquets at that time. Popped that off and, like, threw it on. And then I'm like, well, what if they shoot in these fucking windows? Because that's what their MO at the time was. They would, you know, set an ambush, blow up the fucking truck, and then just machine gun guys as they ran up to the truck.
Yeah.
So, dude, I'm, like, sitting back, like, oh, let's get out of this because I can't get the fucking window up. Trying to put this tourniquet on. I'm like, I'm going to get shot through this window. My mom's going to be so fucking mad at me. And then, yeah, like, I got out and it was just...
Did they ever catch those guys?
Yeah. Killed him a couple weeks later.
Okay.
How did you know when they get out? You know, because if you said their MO is to fucking...
Well, I just kind of rolled with it. Like, one of those, like, it's... we didn't have anything like for it at the time, but, like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, this is...
Yeah, but once those guys are outside, they'll say, they'll go in and help them out. Like, they make sure that, I would assume, everyone else
like,
is
there are
fucking
people,
blasted.
like, guys are running up from the back. And and I didn't, like...
How many trucks in your convoy there?
I couldn't even, probably 10 or 12.
Okay, so,
I honestly, I don't remember. Like, it's
it wasn't two.
It's been a long time, and I was pretty heavily concussed.
But it wasn't two. It was...
Yeah, no, there were probably, it was probably 40, 50 guys worth. Right. You know what I mean? But, like, there would be, like, a 5-ton.
Yeah.
You know, because we would take, and we had a bunch of Afghani, roughly equivalent to a National Guard, you know, so they're riding in the back of a 5-ton. So there's a bunch of dudes.
What's the damage to the other people that were in the vehicle?
I thought the guy in front of me was fucking dead because I remember sitting up. He was my squad leader. I'm looking, and he is hunched over, like, just, you know, against the seatbelt. I'm like, holy shit, this motherfucker's dead. It just, you know, turned his lights off. He had... you know, because everybody wore eye protection, and there's that, you know, there's a 1/16 of an inch between your face and the lens. He had just the tiniest piece of a rock or something in between there, ricochet off the lens and into his eye. So he is, I'm pretty sure he's legally blind in one eye. we were close enough to it. The dude riding in the turret actually just like minor flesh wounds. He got real fucked up from the overpressure because that's what just the rapid expansion is what fucks a lot of people up. You know, it's not as much the shrapnel. Yeah. You know, you'd see these guys and you hear about it and they're like, well, this guy's dead, but he looks fine. Well, the overpressure's just fucked his guts up. But he was close enough. Like he had and he still kind of deals with it. It's not as bad. Like it's gotten better, but it's TBI shit. But he had a little bit of shrapnel here, but he was so close that, you know, 'cause you're riding a truck and it's fairly wide. The side of the truck deflected most of it up and over him.
Oh, because he was high. He was.
Yeah, you know, he's riding here and it's deflected anything that would normally get out into him up and over him. That's how close we were to it. But that was about it as far as that goes. I think I got it the worst probably.
Did you go to Germany then?
I did. I was in a lot of, to be honest, I couldn't tell you much about it because it was just, they were like, oh, you're fucked up. Dilaudid.
Yeah.
Like I remember the flight, like, because they hammered me with it, and as soon as they put me on the helicopter, they were like, shh, I'm fucking out of it. And I come to and look, and it's this chick, and I swear to God, like I know it's the drugs. But still, to this day, it's the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my life. You know, some flight medic probably looks like a fucking swamp dog.
Probably black dude named Gary.
It may have been. I was so fucking hammered, man. I have no idea.
You're an angel.
But like, they take me out.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, and like I don't remember much of being there. You know,
In
like
Germany?
like getting back to the fire base.
Yeah.
It's funny because they're taking me off the Black Hawk and wheeling me out, and dudes from another company that I know are coming out for like the QRF, and I'm like, look out, fuckers, this shit hurts. You know, they're running out and their eyes are this fucking big because I'm just like,
This shit's real.
yeah, and I'm just fucking covered in blood, and you know, it's probably like, there's probably some blood in my morphine stream.
Yeah.
I was fucked up.
Yeah.
And it was cool, and they go in and like the chaplain's there. And I'm just like,
And he starts reading your last rites, like, dude,
no, it wasn't like that.
give me a chance.
It wasn't like that, but like this dude's talking to me, and he's like, "You need prayer?" And I'm like, "Bud, we've discussed this before. Like, I appreciate it." Like, nah, it's cool. And they're like, "But you want me to call anybody?" He's like, "Nah, I can call." And then he's like, "Okay." He gives me a phone. I go to call, and like,
Called Domino's.
yeah. Well, I'm thinking like, you know, I know my mom is going to lose her fucking mind. Yeah. And I was married at the time, and I'm like, she's going to lose her fucking mind. I'm going to call my dad. So I call my dad, and I'm like, yo, got blown up. I don't remember. But I'm thinking like, dad, like in my mind, he's going to go over and tell me, hey, what is, you know, my wife at the time is going to tell her like, oh yeah, Jason got fucked up and so on and so forth. But no, he just calls her. I'm like, well, fuck, I could have done that. You know? And then, it's funny, I go in and I remember this distinctly. This is how I found out they give you paralytics before they intubate you for surgery. I didn't know that at the time.
All right.
So we go in there, they wheel me in, and like normally you're already under sedation for it. Which paralytic, literally, that's exactly what it does. It paralyzes you so they can intubate you and you don't flop around. And, well, I didn't know they did that. But normally that shit hits after the anesthetics.
Yeah, after you're under.
So you don't know.
Yeah.
Did you start farting?
No, dude, I'm fucking laying there and I'm waiting and I can hear him. And all of a sudden, like, I can't fucking breathe and my body starts doing some fucking weird shit. And I'm like, man, I just told my dad I was good. Now I'm fucking dead. And I'm like, I'm flopping around. And these doctors are just like, they're just sitting there bullshitting. You know what I mean? Just like, oh, I need
I
this
am
and that.
tired of what the Chicago Bears are doing.
Yeah. And I'm like, dude.
They're just holding you down.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, I'm fucking dying. And I'm like, trying to, like, my eyes will move, but I can't breathe. I'm like, God damn, fuck.
Yeah.
And then the next thing I know, like, I'm just like coming out of surgery, and my arm has 6 to 7 miles of fucking like. Just,
Now, was this in Germany or Walter Reed?
This is in Afghanistan.
In Afghanistan.
Yeah. That night, I think it was that night, I got flown to Germany, and it was pretty rad because they would just there were like 6 or 8 of us on the flight, just
all fucked up.
Oh yeah, I mean, you know, some dudes were real fucked up, no legs, shit like that, like it was bad.
Yeah.
But I had my own flight dock, and like literally, I'm on a cot on the floor, and this dude's just sitting there next to me.
Wow.
And I'm like, whoa. And he's like, is it hurt? And I'm like, whoa. And he fucking reaches in his pocket and pulls out what I'm assuming is morphine, hooks that bitch up and hammers it home.
Did he take a squirt for himself? 1 for me, 2 for you.
Yeah, he tasted it. But like,
you got to make sure this stuff's real.
Yeah. But dude, like he hammers it, you know, and then it's a couple hours later, I'm like, oh, and he's like, does it hurt? You know, repeats for the whole flight. This dude probably hit me 4 or 5 times, and it's just like,
now it hurts where you injected me. I'll give you another one.
Yeah.
But it was, you know, that, and then like Germany was the same way, just like fucking drug-fueled haze.
So what did they do there? Because it sounds like they already set the...
What they do in Germany is they essentially, and this is very watered down, but they essentially make sure that you are stable enough to survive the flight across the Atlantic.
Got it.
Yeah.
So I was there for a couple days. You know what I mean? They would obviously prioritize guys.
So in Afghanistan, did they do what they could to save the arm, or did that happen later?
They just debride it, you know, to get the shit out so the infection's not awful.
So they stabilized it more or less?
Yeah.
Okay.
Essentially, like they didn't do any, you know, there was no surgery other than debridement, you know, to make sure that it was viable. Mm-hmm. You know, so it's not like, oh, yeah, so hey, man, my arm's turning black. Yeah. You know what I mean? One of those things.
So when they go to do it, it's a healthy tissue.
Exactly. You know, if it had been something like where it wasn't viable, they would have taken it then. Mm-hmm. But it was, obviously. Mm-hmm. So then they, you know, go to Germany, and I'm there, and I just remember, like, trying to get Copenhagen and cigarettes, and
it's like jail.
Yeah, it's like, I need some nicotine. They're like, you can't smoke in here. I was like, I don't fucking care. You know what I mean? Like, just hook me up.
I'm really scared of your laws.
Well, yeah.
Regulations.
Yeah. But they had like there was like a liaison from the unit, and like he came in, a little black dude, couldn't do anything about him, but he's like, I can't get you dead, man, I'll get in trouble. I'm like, really? Like, I remember that, and then he's like, you need this, you need that. I don't know. Like, I don't fucking know, man. Like, I'm awake like 25 minutes a day. You know what I mean? And then got loaded onto a flight and fly, you know, a C-141 to, goddamn, what was it? Air Force Base there in D.C. I don't remember what it was. But I could get it, and I'm on a stretcher for some reason. Like, my legs work, but they want me on a stretcher.
Yeah.
So they load us, dude. They've got these little, like, modified short buses. No, I'm serious. They're painted blue, and they've got 2 seats. And then in the back of it, they've got like three high for stretchers.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So if you're claustrophobic, it's going to be a real bad trip for you. If you're, but I'm not. Like, I was on the top, and I'm looking out the side, and I can see about this much out the window. You know, probably literally like 2-3 inches. But I'm looking, and this dude, they got some 900-year-old man. He's probably 2,000, just big, fat, sloppy fuck. And it's like, you know, driving on the Beltway at like 5 o'clock. He's doing fucking 95 miles an hour. Far left-hand lane. And I'm just looking, I'm like, well, these cars
bring me back to Afghanistan.
I'm like, these cars are real close. And dude, literally, like, as soon as we cross over, because like it's a
was he blaring Molly Hatchet or 38 Special?
I couldn't fuck tell you, dude. I was just like, look at these guys. Of course, I'm fucking ripped.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I had no idea. And I'm looking, and the first thing you get, like, there's they come in through Silver Spring, Maryland at the time. They've since moved Walter Reed, but it used to be like ghetto neighborhood. Somebody got shot there the first time I was there. Literally, like,
oh my God!
I didn't know it at the time, but I could have looked out my window and watched it happen. But like, the first thing we see when you cross over from Silver Spring, Maryland, into DC is a DC Metro bus has completely fucking murdered a DC Metro police car. And we're like, holy shit, it's gonna be one of those. And then, you know, we go in and just like stupid shit like that. I remember puking on a fucking woman. Like, I come in, all 3 bones of my arm are broken. You know, ulnar and radius, which forearm bones are just destroyed, and the humerus is just like fractured. I'm there like 2 days, and they want to start me on physical therapy. Yeah, I'm like, okay. So they come in and like they hook me up to that belt, and the physical therapist is a lieutenant, and she's probably been out of physical therapy school about 10 minutes.
Yeah, I already know where this was going because you said lieutenant.
Dude, she's like 5'3" and 110 fucking pounds, and she's got a hold of this belt, and I'm like, what in the fuck are you gonna do
When I start toppling.
yeah, it's like you're just gonna ride it in like a fucking bull. But, you know, we go and we walk, and she's like, okay, you can walk. And we sit down, and, like, they want me to do all this stuff with my hand. My fucking arm is broke. Like, it's broke, you know what I mean? And she's like, oh, yeah. And I was like, I'll try. And I'm like, I'm not feeling real fucking good. Yeah, and she's like, well, you know, just try. And I'm like, I don't think it's going to happen. And she's like, you can do it. And I'm like, shh. And I fucking go, just straight exorcist all over this woman. I fucking lose consciousness from the pain. And I come to, and she's just like looking at me.
I told you.
And I was like,
Did I try? Was I try hard enough?
I don't want to do anything else today. And she's like, okay. And they just kind of put me back into bed and got my little button. Yeah. But it was awesome because it was, and I don't remember why. You know what I mean? So much medical stuff's changed at the time. I'm completely ignorant to it. You know, but they would still come in and blast me with Dilaudid. Now they were using Dilaudid, and they would say that. But, like, my dad tells the story. It's fucking amazing. Because my mom and dad are there. You know, wife, son are there, and they're hanging out. And, like I said, they'd just be having a conversation. They'd come in and be like, how's your pain? You want some medicine? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, okay.
Bam.
And I'm just sitting there and, like, we're talking, blah, blah, and they push it, and it's just fucking wall.
I have nothing more to add.
Yeah, they said, but my dad says, like, 20 minutes later, I just, like, hey, what's up? Just continue like nothing fucking happened. And they're like, you stop for 20 minutes, dickhead. Like, we're talking about something else. And I was like, okay. But I remember that. Definitely was interesting. I definitely see how people get addicted to fucking heroin. Because, dude, they would push that shit. Like, I had IV just in my elbow. Literally, they push it in, and they push it real slow. And you can feel that shit.
Warmth?
Dude, oh, yeah. You feel it run up your arm. And across your chest, and it hits your heart, and it just like explodes, and you're just fucking like, yeah. You know what I mean? And I'm like, holy fuck, like that is awesome. But that was my big learning thing there. It was like, yeah, we should do IV drugs. And it was like, a lot of social stigma against that at the time. Now it's cool with everybody, but.
How long were you at Walter Reed?
Year and a half.
Holy shit.
A lot of that was out processing. Like I was there 45 days as an inpatient total. No, I'm sorry. The first time was like 45 days. Dude, I lost like 70 pounds, I think. Because it was when you could take, they had all those pro hormones. Like the fucking 1AD and all that shit. So, dude, we're fucking blasting that shit.
Gotta keep some muscle mass.
Well, I mean, just like, no idea, you know what I mean? Like, oh, you can buy it over the counter, so sure, it's safe. So we're taking like triple fucking dose, just getting jacked, dude. My blood pressure's probably like 280 over 160 the whole fucking time. I didn't care. But I was like 320.
Yeah.
And we took a PT test. You know, they do is 2 minutes 2 minutes push-ups, 2 minutes sit-ups, and a 2-mile run. And, you know, at 320 pounds on this PT test, doing 120 push-ups, 90-some sit-ups, and running 12 and a half minutes on a fucking 2-mile run at 320. Like, it was in pretty good shape and just, like, fucking gassed up. But I lost, like, 70 pounds. Dude, I could walk, when I finally got cut loose, I could walk about 30 fucking yards before I was completely smoked. I mean, like...
Sweating your ass off.
No, dude, sweating, but would, like, have to sit down because I could not stand. There was a place they moved us to because...
it's crazy how quickly you lose everything.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I was sick for... I didn't have the Rona, but I had some flu, and I was sick for... I didn't think I left the bed for like 7 days. I'd wake up, I would take a leak, and I didn't eat anything. And, you know, I'd try to eat something, whatever. Make a long story short, I think after 5 or 6 days... I had lost 30 pounds.
No shit.
Yeah. And, you know, before this, I was doing 300 to 500 squats a day with my weight vest on. I did a set of 5 when I have to sit down and just gassed. And I'm like, dude, it's been like 10 days. You know, by the time I felt good enough to train, it was like, dude, I can't imagine 2 months or what, yeah, right. 2 months you were inpatient there?
45 days, month and a half,
Yeah, okay. So if you can just, you know, basically a week for me and you got 6 weeks. That's insane.
Yeah, dude, it was like,
Even if you are walking a little, it's not doing anything.
yeah, I tried to market it. Like, I thought maybe people would get on it, but then I had a hard time, like, finding explosives to blow people up with so they could go to the hospital. So it never really turned out.
Yeah.
If you guys need to lose weight quick, get blown up,
Yeah.
get it fucking hooked on opiates,
Yeah, you don't
just hang out in the hospital.
Yeah, you don't eat anything?
Yeah, you don't, dude. I went 17 days without taking a shit.
Oh, boy. Oh, when I had my back surgery, that was the worst. I finally had to have some help taking a dump, and I still to this day don't know how that toilet handled it, because it was a week. Dude, your stomach must have been fucking killing you.
Well, it wasn't bad. I wasn't eating.
Oh, okay.
You know, so it's they're like,
But Dave, that was one of the worst days of my. I couldn't sit down to take a dump. First, my back was killing me because it was so much pain. But there's no way my butt and all my shit would fit together.
Yeah, it would fit. Yeah,
So I'm trying to twist with my back and just like, oh, here we go, boys.
yeah.
Boop.
but it was
Sorry.
fun. Like, I was so mad. There's so many hot nurses there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're like, we're gonna have to give you a suppository, and I'm like, oh. I'm way too homophobic. Like, I can't put my finger in my own ass. Like, I eat hot dogs from the middle. You know what I mean? And like, they're like, well, you're gonna have to do it, or we're gonna have to do it. And I'm like,
Listen, I ain't getting paid.
go for it, lady.
That's right.
So they send in, dude, like you've seen Matilda.
The movie?
Yes.
I just watched it the other day.
fucking gym teacher.
Yeah.
They send in the fucking gym teacher.
No, she's not the gym teacher. She is the
Principal, whatever.
Yeah,
she
the
throws
head-
the
head-
shot put
yeah.
and wears a weight belt.
Yep.
That's who they fucking send in to put this thing in my ass, and I'm so pissed. Like, it was so bad. But they do it, dude, and then it's like I go to shit, and I'm like,
Could you get up and go?
oh yeah, like I could shuffle around.
All right, so
it was difficult
You didn't
to
have
move.
to fucking left cheek sneaking into a bedpan.
No. Like I was trying, excuse me, but it's like, and I go in there, and I'm like, I'm expecting like a girthy fucking turd. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it feels like my asshole is
Yeah,
tearing.
no, it's, yeah.
And like I said, yeah, dude, little baby rabbit turds.
Yeah.
And I'm in there for 45 minutes, and I had to have the nurse come in at one point because like I'm just pouring fucking sweat. You know what I mean?
That's a good shit.
Yeah. Like I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. And I'm looking, and it's like they're literally two little fucking baby, like they don't even look like Hershey Kisses. And it's been 45 minutes, and I'm like, this is not, no. Like, you get the fucking surgeon in there, do something. Like, I would rather get blown up again than have to take that shit again. If somebody comes at me and they're like, would you rather be blown up or would you rather take this shit?
But there's got to be a way to suck it out, right?
There's something, dude. Fuck shot back. Like, I don't care. Like, this is not like, what this is doing to my asshole is not in any way, shape, or form equivalent to what is coming out. And it's like, that is not polite at all. We need to stop this. And then it was bad.
So after you're an inpatient at Walter Reed, where did you go and obviously you had to go back for rehab every day or something?
Yeah, I had
you at the base there?
Yeah, they had a place called the Fisher House. It's they use it's a charity thing, but it's essentially like a hotel for families, but it's more like a housing than a hotel. Like they've got a full kitchen,
okay,
and there's all this stuff. You've got a room, you've got it's like a hotel room. There's beds, computer, TV, all that shit. But like there's kitchen, you've got refrigerator space, you've got closet space, things like that. So we stayed there. And
you and your wife?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was half mile from the hospital. So we would go back, and do the therapy stuff. And it was kind of wild too, just the amount of shit that would happen where it was all open. I could take and I'd bend my arm and fluid would just like where it was so swollen, literally would pour out like a fountain. It was awesome. Because you just look at it and you're like, what in the fuck is this?
Did you ever, when you're doing all your, I don't know, I guess it doesn't matter, but let's just say when you're doing your rehab, look around and be like, dude, I'm fucking thankful that it's just my arm.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I'll be completely honest. I first got there, and it was one of those like, what in the fuck? Like, why?
Yeah.
Why is this me?
Woe is that?
And then like,
you look around.
There's a dude that comes in, and
he's got no arms.
No, he's got one leg.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he got one of the first guys to get medevac from Iraq, and his fucking leg is off. And he's just like, hey, just so you're up here, figure out, come in and say what's up. And you're like, oh.
He's got the good kick-ass attitude.
yeah. I mean, that's exactly what it was. You know what I mean? Like, you look around these dudes. You know, there was a guy there who literally got burned up. Like,
oh, man.
I mean, like, no ears, no nose. You know, they were doing reconstructive surgery on him and shit. And, like, his girlfriend is there with him. You know what I mean? He's laughing and joking. They're going out. And it was funny because he ended up staying down the hallway. And you can hear this dude just racking, just beating the bottom out of it. And you're like, holy shit, dude. Like, I knew it was his room because, you know, we're buddies. And I'm like, I know what's going on in there. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those, you see guys like that and you're like, wow, like, this is, you know, could be much worse. You know, like, I wouldn't say that I was fortunate by any means, but it's one of those, like, this could definitely have been much worse than it was.
What would happen if your window would have been up? Just the overpressure, you think? Or would that window have saved you?
Dude, I couldn't even imagine. Like, I don't know.
Okay.
Everybody had their windows down. Stuff like that with the windows down, like, it will let the pressure pass through.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep,
Where
yep.
with the windows up, it just, like, it
That's what
builds
I'm
it
saying,
inside.
maybe, yeah.
So, you know, it could have been a thing where, like, well, maybe I fucking die if the windows are up.
Yeah.
But I can't, like, I couldn't even.
I'm just curious if that, if you're, you know, I don't know. Not like you have any regrets, so to speak, but it's one of those things like, fuck.
Yeah, it was, I don't know. Like I said, not the best experience, but it could have been way fucking worse. You know what I mean? You got to meet President Bush. Got to cuss out his medical advisor. That was pretty rad.
Did you tell him to go eat a dick?
What was this about?
Okay. They've got, you know, like, everything Iraq was hammering down. You know, Afghanistan's still going, so you got dudes in and out all the time. They're like, yo, the president's going to come out. You know, he's going to give some dudes some Purple Hearts and shit like that. And, but they go through and they've got to, like, they do background checks on everybody. Well, just, you know.
Yeah, you don't want to be caught on camera giving a medal to some dude who's...
Well, I mean, it's not as much that, but, like, if you guys were there with me,
Yeah.
they would...
Yeah,
They want our background
Yeah,
checks.
they're not checking me.
No, wait a minute.
They're checking you two guys, you know, just one of those, like, oh, you know, make sure that Jim and Dave aren't felons or, you know, shit like that. But they had done this, and Secret Service, there was a guy there, different guy, but he was there with his dad. He'd been burned up real bad. You know what I mean? Got like 3 fingers, face is fucked. As terrible as that is to say, you know what I mean? Like, no nose, no ears. You know, like
He was Secret Service?
No, the Secret Service had let this dude onto the floor with his dad.
Oh, I see. Okay, gotcha.
You know,
right.
and they've got probably, there were 2 people, they were 3 people, 3 bed rooms, and it was me and another dude. There was no third guy, so they had taken the bed out and brought in a bunch of chairs for guys and their families, stuff like that. Well, this dude and his dad had gotten onto the floor, and the Secret Service is like, you know, like, yeah, you're okay. Well, this woman, she was a colonel. I don't know her name. Her and some dude in a suit. Come to find out later that it was his medical advisors or whatever. They come to throw this fucking dude out. Because they've let him and his dad on, the Secret Service has let him and his dad onto the floor, but they're not on the list. Like, they came in.
Yeah.
And I just, like, completely fucking lost it on these dudes. I'm like, you know, you can put that fucking kid and his old man, he's sitting here, he wheel me the fuck out, and, you know, like that, and I'm not being polite to her at all. Like, I'm motherfucking her. like, there's absolute total loss of decorum, which is, a huge thing in the military. You know what I mean? Like, one of those, and I just completely fucking knew, like, angry to the point of tears. And I'm like, you fucking wheel this fucking dad out, you know, bring him and his old man in here, shit like that, and we're gonna, you know, like, my arm's fucked up. This kid's fucking life is wrecked. You know what I mean? Like, nothing will be normal for this dude ever. Him and his old man can get in here, and we'll fucking go. And they didn't let it happen, but it was one of those, like, they came in and, like, somebody came in and apologized to me.
All right.
I was like, holy fuck, like, like, I was not polite. You know, it was one of those, like I said, a motherfuck this woman.
Yeah.
She's a bird colonel. You know what I mean? He's probably got 20 fucking years in the Army as a surgeon and whatnot. And I'm, you know, you're fucking bullshit. Fuck you. He's bullshit. Fuck him. You know, they let him on the goddamn floor. Get the motherfucker, oh, we can, blah, blah, whatever, fucking losers. Hopefully they're dead. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, could you imagine being that fucking just level of cunt? Where you're like, oh yeah, I see that your face is completely fucking burnt off, but you're not on the list.
She'd be the kind of person to, after you get back from being at Restrepo, like, why aren't you shaved?
Yeah.
You know, why
do you have a hole in your uniform?
Yeah, why do you have that hole in your uniform? It's a bullet hole.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Let's take a piss break real quick, and then we'll come back.
sign your shoes.
Yeah, stupid shit.
America Health is a premium telehealth platform specializing in hormone optimization and preventative medicine. Are you looking to optimize your health in and out of the gym, improve recovery, sex drive, and quality of life? Have you tried speaking to your health professional about this and have gotten the cold shoulder, stereotyped, or just told it's part of getting older? You just go to americahealth.com/table talk, and you can create your own lab, or you can take labs that we've had set up for them, which are based upon the same labs that I've been doing over the last 15 years. Or you can use their guided optimization. With this, they'll put you in touch with a patient care coordinator, which is actually pretty cool because you get to sit down and speak to somebody that can understand what you're looking for from hormone optimization and the preventative medicine standpoint. After that conversation, they'll determine which labs that you should and which tests you should have done, and then from there, get the labs done. They'll review those labs with you and put you in touch with one of their hormone optimization specialists that can determine which supplementation that you should use over the counter or prescription. americahealth.com/table talk. The discount code is table talk. Today's episode is brought to you by Element, a tasty electrolyte drink mix with everything that you need and nothing that you don't. In other words, no sugar, no artificial coloring, no artificial ingredients, no gluten, no fillers, and no BS. With Element, I love the watermelon. The watermelon tastes freaking awesome. I drank 1 pack every day, no matter what. People that train out here, it's sitting out here for them all the time. The boxes don't last very long. Right now, Element is offering Table Talk listeners a free sample pack with any purchase. That's 8 single serving packages free with any Element order. Get yours at drinkelement.com/table talk. The deal is only available through the link in the description. The other thing is, if you don't like it, you can just give it away to a salty friend and Element will give you a 100% refund. No risk, money back guarantee. Head over to drinkelement.com/table talk. Today's episode is brought to you by First Detachment. Are you looking for a supplement brand that truly understands hardworking athletes? Look no further than First Detachment. Wendy's real world experience is what I would consider, and they consider, battle tested. I have known Justin Harris for pretty close to 2 decades. And if there's anybody that I trust with nutritional and supplement needs, it's Justin Harris. If you guys have followed me and have followed the podcast, you pretty much already know how I feel about the supplement industry. For me to get behind any brand, I have to trust the brand and I have to trust the person both. And I'm pretty sure you guys all know why. When it comes to creating formulas and putting products on the market, and there's nobody that I trust more than Justin Harris. While I love all of their products, I'd suggest that you check out the Field Rations and WTH first. Go to www.firstdetachment.com and use the code TABLETALK10 to save 10% off each order. The link is in the description. I want to let you guys know that we just had a limited edition drop on the website last week of new items. That sweatshirt, flannel, t-shirts, shorts. Basically, the limited edition items are the items that directly support the Table Talk podcast. So if you go to elitefts.com/limited edition, or actually just the link in the description, you can find the limited edition items that we have now, which There's the one that I like the best is the shit suck good great, which is all emojis. The designs I always like the best, right? They're the ones that don't sell for shit, you know, but they're the ones that I want to wear that I like the best. And there's the cigar one as well. And they're all there on the screen for you guys to be able to see. So if you go to elitefts.com/limited edition, the other thing that directly helps support the podcast that I haven't talked that much about is the Table Talk crew. The Table Talk crew is extra edition episodes that go out once a month. The content of those episodes are AMA related, question related, that come from the Table Talk Discord group, which is also part of being in the crew. When you're in the crew, there's dozens of ebooks that are in there. There's every seminar that we've ever done is put on there. There's courses that are put on there. There's series that have put on there. The original YouTube channel that we had for many years, before we migrated to the newer one, all that old content is on there. There's discussion groups for just general training, fitness, life, nutrition, basically everything that you can think of is on. So just go look at what that is, or better than that, just go to the description, click on join the crew. That helps directly support the podcast, which is how we're able to keep this thing rolling.
When you combine that with like ZMA, so you get tired and then you sleep. I never sleep through the night anyway.
All right, we're back. Okay, so we were getting through Walter Reed, right? Pretty much. So at this point, you're almost out, right? Where we left off,
Give or
like
take.
the blowing up at Bush's, you know.
Yeah, I mean that was I was still an inpatient at that point.
Yeah.
But it was the rest of it. It was just like general rehab shit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because the Army, the one thing they will do, and this is military wide, so not just the Army. The Army was my experience with it, is they won't kick you out fucked up. You know what I mean? Like I had reached the end of my enlistment, and it's one of those like, we're going to stop loss you, which means essentially they keep me to make sure that like this is as good as it's going to get before we cut you loose. So I ended up being there like a year and a half.
How long was your enlistment for?
Total was like 5 years. I had initially enlisted for 4.
4. Okay, so they basically kept you on until you were basically healed.
Yep.
And cleared for.
Yeah.
Okay.
The last probably 6 months of the time there was just like they med board you. Like they take all your paperwork and shit. Once you get to a point where your doctor says like, oh yeah, Jason's as good as he's gonna get. You know, here's the deficits that he's got. They send it to a med board, and they're like,
I already know.
I think there were like 3 physicians on it for the entire military, so it takes a long time.
This is how disabled you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they'll go through and they'll look at it and be like, okay, you know, but a lot of it was just waiting for that to happen. I think it took roughly 6 months or so to get that done. And
at that time, you were still in Maryland or DC? Or wherever you were.
Yeah. Like they had transferred me to the unit. It was just funny because it's like I knew I was getting out. It was one of those like, they're like, oh, you need to come to formation. I'm like, yeah, count on that. I fucking sleep till fucking noon. You know what I mean? Like it was a.
I thought formation was at 5 tonight.
Oh, I just like, and they'd call, they'd send people, you know what I mean? Because you got dudes like, and it's terrible, but you had dudes that, you know, really fucked up mentally from it, you know, and they're just handing these dudes pharmaceuticals.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Narcotics, opiates, shit like that. And these dudes are fucking overdosing, dying in there. You know, it wasn't a whole bunch, but I can remember a couple guys like.
It was enough that it shouldn't have happened.
Well, I mean, it was. It's a shitty spot to be as a physician. You know what I mean? Because you don't want to be like, oh well, your arm's off, and we're not giving you anything for that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you, by the same token, it's like anything else. You expect some level of responsibility to fall onto the individual. Like, hey, we're giving you fucking 30 milligrams of Percocet a day.
Yeah.
Don't go drinking at night.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what it would be like. These dudes do shit like that. It was not a lot, but it was enough to you're like, wow, this is a fucking problem.
What year did you officially leave?
2006.
Army? So you got blown up in 2004? 5.
Yeah.
So
it was from May 2005 to November of 2006.
So how's all this lead then into fucking powerlifting?
Well, I mean,
And Team Awful, actually.
Team Awful's fucking stellar. That's what happens when you train with a bunch of fucking smooth-brained idiots. But, no, I mean, like, it was one of those things, like, you know, playing sports, stuff like that. I always enjoyed lifting, trying to get strong. Now it was a point to where, like, oh, you can't swing a fucking softball bat. Can't dribble a basketball. Not that I really could anyway.
I was going to say, did you want to?
So what he's saying is the only thing he can do is powerlifting.
Yeah.
That's how low powerlifting
Well, outside of the bench.
Yeah, but out of the
I still
athletic,
bench 300.
Yeah, this is true.
But yeah, it was one of those, like, here's something I can do, you know what I mean? Because it was, you know, 16 years ago. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm like,
you're still
in the 20s.
Yeah, you still
You know
got
what
shit
I mean?
to do.
Yeah. And it's like, well, I need to do some sort of shit, like, just for myself. You know? It's kind of gotten to that. And it was like, wow, this is, you just lift weights? That's easy as fuck.
I don't have to run.
Yeah.
I
No
do
running.
calisthenics.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
when I met you, you had the fucking small-ass gym. In wherever the fucking...
Indiana.
Yeah. You know, Team Awful gym or
Them
whatever
dudes,
it was.
those dudes just, they actually just closed that this year.
So it lasted this long?
Yeah. It's funny. Dude randomly messaged me. Said he'd been over there and was buying
what
some
city was this in?
Muncie.
Muncie.
Yeah.
Did it grow any bigger than what it was
I
from
don't
the
know.
jump?
Like, I know at one point they were training like some high school kids and stuff like that. But I don't know. I just know that they were, you know, the guys like, oh yeah, I bought a bunch of equipment from Joe Gilpin and Sam Evans, the guys' names that owned it. And they're like, yeah, I bought a bunch of equipment from them. And I'm like, oh, and found out they closed the gym. It's like, nice. But it was something that they just did, like, oh yeah, we like to train. And
So how'd that parlay into powerlifting though?
as far as the training goes,
Yeah, just it's not like at that time, it's not like powerlifting was.
a bunch of you know, Matt Winnings from Muncie.
Yeah,
A lot of these dudes trained at Ball State with Matt.
yeah.
You know, he came over here, was training at Westside and Lexington and whatever else he was doing. And then just, you know, those guys stayed there, you know, not mobile, guys with careers and shit like that. And like, we like training. I'm like, well, cool, I like fucking training too. Like, I think the first, when I first got out, like, I'd actually emailed Matt. I'm like, hey, you guys training? Like, I want to get in. They're like, yeah. They were training at, God, probably one of the shittiest fucking place I've just can imagine, dude. It was a dump. It had a fucking tree run through the roof. Like, this dude spent like, I don't know, he charges like $20 a month, and half the equipment in there was stuff like guys had taken it themselves. But there's literally a gigantic fucking hole in the roof with a tree run through it.
Holy
It was a fucking dump. He had a sign like in the bathroom, like, what the fuck did it say? Essentially, it was like, if you're gonna piss, don't flush it.
Yeah,
don't want
if
fucking water.
it's yellow, let it mellow.
Yes,
If it's brown,
dude.
flush it down.
Yeah, and I'm like,
I say if it's brown, keep it around.
Yeah.
but you know what I mean? Like, shit like that. Like, it was just a fucking dump. And then, you know, like, we need to get the fuck out of here because he wouldn't spend any money like on maintenance. Like, a fucking pull down, a fucking cable would break.
And then you just didn't have a pull down anymore.
Yeah, I was like, well,
Guess we're doing
not
chins
strong
now.
enough to do chins. Fuck you, fuck your back.
Yeah, Rose.
You know, yeah, you know what I mean. But like, and there was a bunch of like, the dude that owned the place, just the old head, fucking power lifters. You know what I mean? Doing their God, was it fucking like IPL? I think it was. Like, there's all these little, little shitty
feds.
random.
What was the name of that? The bench deadlift group, Wobdle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
doing shit like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it started there, and then we're like, we need our own fucking place, and
Yeah.
you know, did that.
So that became 8 years of competing.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Into that.
Maybe.
Yeah. Well,
I don't fucking remember.
07 to 15.
Yeah, that's
That
probably,
was what's on open powerlifting.
Oh Jesus.
I looked it up.
Fucking
I don't remember anybody's fucking numbers. I knew 1,000-pound squat, but I didn't know it didn't count.
dude, how does it not fucking count? Billy Mimnon, get fucked.
It was in a video I saw. it.
Fucking jail. Get
Yeah.
fucked, dude. You know, a guy on the practice squad is in the NFL, is still in the NFL, and you can suck my dick. I will fucking die on that hill. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those, like, it only matters to people that don't fucking
Yeah.
matter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
it's just like, you can see me on a fucking tirade. You can't do that.
It's funny because nowadays no one cares what you do in a meet. It's only what's on social media. It's the exact opposite.
Probably.
Like it's perfect. You can just fucking stay on year round. You don't have to peak. You just might have a good workout that day. You film it. It's like I fucking bench 500.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I mean, that's to me, and it's still true. Like that's completely fair. You know what I mean? Like.
Oh yeah.
It's
what your goal was to do.
Well, but
right?
Exactly. But by the same token, it's an individual sport.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like, oh yeah, we won the national championship. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You go to these fucking international meets and you got 6 dudes from Pennsylvania and Ohio, and Danny Degg has flown in one fucking Ukrainian.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, it's a world championship meet. Like, no, it's not.
It's a massive difference than being in the Army, where everything matters, like as a team, right? To be in, and it must have been kind of nice for you, where like you're not always having to rely on everyone.
Well, I mean, it's just, you know,
you still have training partners, but you know what I'm saying.
You know what I mean? And you still need, you still gotta have guys spot and shit like that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but it's one of those, like, it's just something you could do, and it was still the same. I say this now, the training was always more about fucking hanging out than anything that happened to the meets. I know they're like, you guys being a West Side was fucking different.
No,
not for me.
I like training.
But
I like the training more than the meets, 100%.
But I mean, it just like the training was something we did so we could fucking hang out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if it had been playing basketball or fucking shooting guns or playing golf or whatever, it was hanging out with the dudes. It just so happened the thing that we were doing when we were hanging out was lifting weights.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And we go to meets and it was fun, but it was like the meets just validated the training. Like nobody cared. Like, you bombed out and dumbass.
Yeah.
Spent all that money.
Well, the validation of that was anytime I would speak to somebody about how their training went for the meet, you based your training, macro cycle or whatever you want to call it, based upon that, not the meet result.
Yeah.
Right? Because you knew the meet was just the meet. You could got way stronger, but just had a shitty day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or your training absolutely sucked, but for some reason,
you put it together.
It all came together out of nowhere. To me, it's always been about the training. There's no doubt about that. But, to Jim's point about it being all on Instagram, I would kind of agree, except he's had to restart his Instagram, 14 times.
Yeah, I mean, it's, apparently some people.
Yeah, and part of what's that?
Nobody has a fucking sense of humor anymore. Like, it's just like, my mom said something to me. I'm like, don't fucking look at it.
Well, when I looked the other day, it's like there's like 5 posts or some shit like that.
Well, I turned it off for a bit. There's a lot of shit that I'm not going to go into, but it's like I should probably just delete this. It was just stupid.
What's funny is occasionally to get like an article idea or something, I'll thumb through because I'll do like a Q&A kind of thing. And you can tell sometimes I get fired up. I'm like, man, I should probably erase this. So it wasn't the post. Mm-hmm. It was the comment I made. And that's where I'm always like, fuck, I could get my ass in trouble, man. And it's, I don't know, there's a couple things that are still posted. But anyway, that's funny because it's never the post for me. It's the
comments.
And they're not even like negative. Like these people aren't even like saying anything. I don't respond to negative comments at all. Mm-hmm. But it was one of the, someone asked me something. I just fucking went off one time. I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing? But I just, whatever. So it's,
you're not allowed to call anybody on anything.
Yeah. This wasn't, this wasn't, I don't know. And it's funny because I'm Dave, like 100,000, I know where you are on this too, but back in the day when we were doing Q&As, we all get fired up about stuff. And now it's like, you just read it and you're like, eh. Like,
no, you're calloused. Just whatever.
And I think that all those years of being on the Q&A and, how we started and everything, man, that we got a nice, easy road into social media.
Yeah.
Because essentially what we had was like kind of the first social media for training.
In a way. It's before the Q&A, though, I saw what forums were. And I'm like, fuck that.
Oh, yeah.
There's going to be one question, one answer, done.
Yep.
And that's kind of how the Q&A was set up for that specific reason. And fuck all this.
And you got to choose what you answered.
Yeah.
And
then you'd see the bullshit come in, but we didn't have to address any of it.
That's the...
Because the people that are posting this stupid shit, they don't want to be addressed anyhow.
No. I think about how much that helped me. I'm serious, like how much that Q&A helped just temper your body down a little bit. And I always laugh because people, if you're not in that kind of position, people don't understand how much shit you get.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not like, I can't imagine, like, if you're a real celebrity, how bad it is. Like, how can you ever look at any of this stuff? Because you might be Tom Brady gets like tons of criticism. It's like, what else does he got to
give shit?
Yeah, but it's funny, like, where am I going to stand in this world if a guy who goes to 9 Super Bowls but only wins, what, 6? I mean,
Fucking loser.
only 66% winning percentage in the Super Bowl.
Trash.
So, anyway, I always like how lucky we were to have that. Just as a, and it's the other thing too is how ready we were prepared for social media with that.
Yeah.
A lot of people just get dumped right in there, and if you're not ready, man, you start having your flame wars and stuff.
Dude, it's so fun because people get so mad. Still get so fucking mad. I love it, dude. I absolutely love it because I don't care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, I don't, like my thing is not real big anymore. So like, I'm just rolling through and I'll get these fucking random ass videos. There's one the other day. This dude is so mad. It's a picture. He's like standing on a fucking hill. Okay, I'll give you the story. And he's got like 2 like plastic axes.
Okay.
And he lets out some like fucking scream.
Yeah.
And literally jumps off this fucking thing, probably, I don't know, 30, 40 feet down into some fucking pool. But he's in like Norway or Finland or some shit. There's snow and everything. The dude's literally just wearing a fucking pair of shorts.
Someone sent me that video.
So you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And I commented on it and I said, man, I hope you got the clout that you were chasing with this.
Dude, that was a long drop, man. That's what
angles. Trust me.
Yeah,
I've taken enough pictures of my wiener. That's a camera angle. That's not.
I knew right where you're going with that, dude.
That's not true. I don't take pictures of my wiener. You've seen it enough. I don't need to send you pictures anymore.
Oh, God.
Burned in my head.
Yeah. It's going from the middle, though, not the end, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you got to get the bend and put your hand around the base.
We'll measure it from the middle of the anus to just
an inch or
beyond the
so
tip.
past the tip.
That's how you measure your dong. Everyone knows that.
But like this dude fires back, like, and he's like, bro, I'm just out here living my life full of, what'd he say? Fucking some shit. And I'm like, dude, you had somebody follow you out into the middle of the fucking woods. You put on shorts with some fucking axes like you're some goddamn Viking and jumped into a fucking hole in the ground.
Yeah.
You're a fucking cloud chase. That's not something you fucking do.
When I was at the Arnold this year,
douchebag.
We were just walking through the expo, and there's so many people that were, walking through, and they got their team of camera guys. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, nothing of this seems natural. Like, it's just very strange to me. And then I realized, like, how out of touch I am with all this stuff, because I just wanted to go. The only reason I go to the Arnold is to get the wings. At the
wings.
There's a place right across the street, an Irish, bar food place that has some of the best wings I've ever eaten. But it's just really weird. And boy, did the fucking Arnold. Did you go at all this year?
No, hell no.
It is a shell of itself.
Oh, really?
You remember, like, obviously there was the expo, and then there was like a million sports you never even knew existed. Yeah. Like full contact ping pong, just shit. Like, and there's like 3,000 competitors. Like,
yeah.
Fuck. And most of that stuff was in the expo. That's how few.
So they moved it all inside there.
That's how few vendors showed up.
Yeah.
And I always wonder, after the COVID thing happened, and they screwed a lot of people out of money.
Yeah, dude.
And all these people who were spending, hundreds of, $100,000, some of these, not just for the booth, but for all the travel, food, whatever. They realized once they didn't go, the 2 years or something after, the 2020 and 2021 or so, whatever, that they didn't need it. Mm-hmm. Like now it's like, our sales didn't drop off at all. We can just hire one more guy for Instagram or whatever. I don't know what else people use. But now it's like how do I put this? They just realized that there's no point.
No, I know that's the fact for a lot of the companies that I've spoken to.
Yeah.
Right, because let's say it is $40,000 or $50,000 a year, then for 2 years they don't have that expense.
Yeah,
but their sales don't go down.
That's right. Yeah.
So they're like, now wait a minute, this didn't do shit. Yeah. So they'll never go back. But there's always newer companies that are going to think that's the shit.
But you got two, and I remember talking to Matt Vincent about it. Like, a lot of people don't understand. It's like, yeah, they pay for the booth, but that building is it's a union shop.
Oh yeah, you got
So you take your shit to the back gate, and then you pay for them to unload your shit. Like, you can't hook up any of your displays. Like, you've got to pay them to load all your shit onto the floor.
Pay daily Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's all this.
Well, when it was very busy, like pre-COVID, when it was super busy, it wasn't just you had to pay. It was how much were you willing to tip to get your shit there first or out first, because if you were the last person, your shit wasn't getting taken down until 3 in the morning on Sunday.
Well, there's that, but they told him, like they canceled it like I forget like 2 days before some shit. So he's there and he's got all his shit, is paid to get it all loaded in, and everything done and set up, and they're like, yeah, we're canceling it. He had to pay to load it out and get everything unhooked. And I think they told him, like, and I can't remember, they're like, yeah, we'll give you 20% off next year. Some shit like that.
Yeah, no, they didn't do shit for any of those.
But it was
a lot
like,
of guys didn't get their money back.
Yeah.
I can see, maybe the discount or something, but man, people not getting anything back.
That's ridiculous.
And
by the same token, you see.
Although I did yell at Arnold last year. Not this, but I yelled. He walked right by me.
Vegan cocksucker.
And I screamed at him, "Fuck your freedom, go fuck yourself, Arnold." And my wife is just like, because James is with me. She's like, oh my God. I'm like, that boy needs to learn.
Dude, he just came out and walked back on it.
Yeah, it does. Dude, he's a fucking scam artist. I mean, but what do you like? That's our fault for ever thinking that he gave a shit about anyone. That's the way I look at it. I'm like, that's on me. And but anyway, I got like three claps though from his crowd, about 2,000 people. There's this one guy's like, "Fuck yeah, dude!" I was like,
can't talk to him like that. Terminator.
That's right.
Was.
Yep.
Yeah, was.
He married a Kennedy.
Yeah.
He married a Kennedy. Anyway, hey, I gotta let's ask Jace, when you were deployed, what kind of gun did you carry?
For my entire career until I got promoted, I had either a saw or
you got the
which
the saw is the giant fucking.
No, it's the little one. And
okay.
240 is the giant one.
Okay.
The thing about the saw that everybody's like, oh, it's so cool, it's a machine gun. I'm like, that motherfucker works like shit.
It's always getting
just like it
like this.
Yeah, and you'd have to clear it. It would fire 3 rounds and fucking jam. 5 rounds.
Did you just start throwing bullets?
I mean, it would have been as effective to swing the motherfucker around like a club a lot of times. You know what I mean? Because it's like, especially your training, you use blanks. Well, everything uses gas. So you have what they call a blank adapter that goes over the end of the barrel to essentially simulate the round coming out, which makes the gas system work. And it's like, you 2 rounds, dude, a motherfucker jam. And then you get like all sorts of fucking just any sort of malfunction you can imagine. You're like, this fucking thing is a piece of shit, and you spend more time trying to get it unfucked.
Well, everyone else is getting fucking.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Get in the fight, Peg. I'd love to.
And then it's like, yeah, exactly. You're like, I'm trying,
And what was the other one that you had an M4?
240 Bravo is a bigger machine gun. It was the biggest one. I carried at like platoon level. Everything else was, but it was, I forget how much it weighed. It was shot a 7.62. And that thing would fucking shoot like you just need bullets to gun a motherfucker backwards and still shoot like.
Here's a story Peg told me. So obviously, when you go out on patrol, you got all your shit. It's 1,000,000 degrees, especially in Iraq. I would assume was hotter.
Dude, the thing in Iraq was the fucking humidity.
Okay, it's not the heat; it's the humidity.
Dude, Baghdad's in between 2 of the biggest rivers on the fucking planet, and it's 1,000 degrees.
Yeah, he had to. So everyone's got everything that they're supposed to carry for themselves, but they have to distribute all the light machine gun ammo between everyone. So yeah, if he's on the light machine gun, he can't carry all that ammo. So everyone's got to take that. Shoulder some of that burden. So you're walking out of there. I mean, imagine it's 90 degrees in here and you got your cut off sleeves and a t-shirt and you're dying when you're in full fucking gear with plate carrier, all your water, everything else, and you got how many pounds of ammo everyone's got to carry too.
Yeah. 100 rounds of machine gun ammo is 8 pounds.
And you're not, it's just you're walking around very heavy, and everyone's got to shoulder that load. So it's pretty amazing, man.
But those 2 machine guns are also, platoon is, you have 4 squads of 6 dudes apiece, okay? And those 2 machine guns are 70% of the firepower for the platoon.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody's carrying ammo for it because it just like, you can, had a couple settings, but I want to say the max rate of fire is like 900 rounds a minute for it.
Mm-hmm. So you're not just carrying 900 rounds.
Yeah, I would carry 1,000, and then everybody else has got a couple hundred.
Yeah, just to help. It's just a lot of weight, man.
Yeah.
People are carrying.
And that's the thing, like then we didn't even have fucking plate carriers. They were big vests.
Oh my
had
God.
Kevlar in them, dude. And it was, they did a study, and you can still find it. Like the average weight, they came out and then like we put combat loads on, and they're like, get on the scales.
So
and
weight at 160, you step on it 220.
No,
is it heavier?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
120 to 170 pounds of gear per band.
Wow.
Yeah. All fucking, and it's sort of like, we don't know why you got these back problems.
Yeah. Why has everyone got bulged discs?
Yeah.
Hunched over.
Well, it's like, dude, it was like I was approaching maximum weight for those parachutes. Like I would fall like a fucking rock. Yeah, and it was funny because they talk about it, like when you have malfunctions, they'd be like, oh yeah, compare your rate of descent to that of other jumpers. If you think you've got, and it's like, but that's not a thing for me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm 500 fucking pounds of shit.
Yeah.
Like, just burning in.
Thud.
Yeah. And you fucking hit and just roll over it. Knocked out twice, jumping.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just come to and you're just getting drug across the fucking drop zone. Feet are all tangled up and shit's everywhere. And you're like, fuck is going on? Can't get untangled. And they're like, don't cut the static lines. So the first thing you do is pull your knife and cut all the fucking static lines. And you're like, I'm getting fucking road rash on my face.
This will be more of a mental health appreciation type statement or question, but with other vets that that have gone through Iraq and Afghanistan with all the bullshit that people are saying that it was worthless and all this other stuff, I feel you guys are not getting the appreciation that you should, for being over there. What do the vets feel that after the way that we left Afghanistan and all this other stuff and all this shit that gets said, do they feel appreciated or do they feel like their time was worthless?
I mean, it's, as far as that goes, it's very individualistic.
Yeah.
I mean, you do the best you can while you're there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For a lot of dudes, anybody that you're going to talk to, you'll get some general on TV that talks about all the shit that he did as a fucking general. But, for me or the buddies I got, it's like we did the best we could while we were there, what we were supposed to do. Mm-hmm. The overall picture, like, wow, this is fucked. You know what I mean? But it's one of those, like, and it was so fucking long, too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's not like, oh yeah, we should have done this in 6 months and 20 years later. You know what I mean? Like it's not even relevant.
No.
Anymore. You know what I mean? Because like what I was doing there in 2003 was nothing like what they were doing in 2018. Mm-hmm. So for those dudes, their experience, like the place is the fucking same, but their experience is gonna be vastly different than mine. Mm-hmm. Same way you got guys going into West Side now, for example.
Yeah.
Louis is fucking dead. Mm-hmm. Guys are still over there in fucking training, but Louis is not there. It's still West Side, but it's not the same West Side you guys trained in. You know what I mean? And it's the same type thing. So I don't want to speak for anyone.
Yeah.
For me personally, I'm like, wow, this is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Like, what a shit show. You know what I mean? And
but for me, it's tough to hear people say that was all, what your time was all worthless. I'm like, no, it's not. Because they're over there fighting for us for whatever that reason is.
I mean, for me, as far as that goes, like, nobody that I know whose opinion matters to me is going to fucking say that.
Yeah.
Or they're not going to say that to me.
Well, they're not saying it directly to you.
But I'm just saying that a dude that's going to say that, you know what I mean? Some girl that I don't know is like, wow, that dude's ugly as fuck. Talking about me. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, unless it's online, then you're going to say something bad.
Well, I mean, yeah, I'll troll that bitch. But you know what I mean? Like I'm not concerned about it. Like
Yeah.
your opinion doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Oh, you're overweight. Okay.
The one thing that I've just like everyone in America, you always kind of struggle with that. But then you read stories and stuff, and there's always there was a lot of good that was done that people don't understand. And it's like we talk about individual, but there's guys that will maybe liberate an entire village, and all these people were getting harassed for decades, or the Taliban had been around that long, but whatever. And those people were so thankful. So it's like, yeah, there's lots of those stories. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So there's all kinds of things like that I don't think that people overlook. And I think even if there's like, I don't want our country to be in endless wars, but I would never I wasn't over there. Like what? And that doesn't mean I can't have an opinion, but we only see the criticism that they want us to see, and there's so many stories that have been told or get ignored, or maybe we just don't know because there's so many of them. And I would never just because I love this guy, and sorry,
Fag.
yeah, but I would never do that just because I know good things did happen.
Yeah.
And I would never disrespect him. And dude, there's, I don't know. Like I know when you're in that tight group of dudes, I mean, Jason can say everything he wants, and maybe the company line was fighting for freedom, but he was fighting for his buddy next to him.
Yeah. And that's, you know what I mean?
That to me is infinitely more important for just an individual on trying to understand stuff. So,
and it's, exactly. It's one of those things that for somebody to try and compress 20 years, you know what I mean? Just anybody.
No, that's a good point.
20 years into a singular opinion. You know what I mean? There are things that I've done in the last 20 years of my life where I'm like, wow, you're a fucking scumbag. Like that is a total, like, you're a piece of shit. And there are things that I still deal with as far as that goes today. That being said, I think that I've done pretty okay over the last 20 years.
No, that would be, that's everybody, right? Everybody's
you know
done
what I mean?
shitty things. Everybody's done
You
good
know what I mean?
things.
So to say like, oh, it's a waste.
Yeah.
Everybody entitled to their opinion. You know what I mean? It's like anything else. It's easy to sit at your house and watch the news and be like, oh, that's terrible. You know what I mean? But if you don't have your hands in it, then your opinion, for me, matters less.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I also don't just what I've read, some of the stuff that was going on there by not just the Taliban, but all the foreign fighters that we were taking on. Some of the shit that they did is beyond insane. Like the horrors that they committed. Like I know guys that will tell you a story and be like, that's not even the worst thing. I'll never tell anyone what I saw. And it's like, what you just told me was fucking horrible.
Yeah.
What aren't you telling me?
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, you're fighting evil, right?
Yeah.
So no matter how you look at it.
Well, and by the same token, the flip side of that, Tommy Taliban is trying to get you the fuck out of his neighborhood.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
See,
like there are things that we do. There are dudes, that were prosecuted for war crimes. Americans. So it's to say like, oh, it's us being good and then being bad. Like, no, it's fucking two dudes literally trying to kill each other for 20 fucking years.
Yeah. I remember.
And if you're not experienced with some level of violence, I'm not talking about sucker punching a dude in the side of a fucking bar.
Real
you know
violence.
what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you're not experienced with violence, then you can't understand it. You know what I mean? And that's like now, that's why they've got all these things, like you mentioned mental health, where they're doing all this shit for these guys now. And, like when it first started, it wasn't a thing. A lot of dudes.
Yeah. Are you going to kill yourself? Nope. All right.
Yeah.
Seems
Anybody suicidal, raise your hand.
Yeah.
He's like, only raise your left hand, poor Peg.
Yeah.
His arm was blown up.
Yeah.
Maybe. But you know what I mean?
No, I get it.
Yeah, so it's one of those where it's like it's impossible for anybody to take it seriously, you know what I mean? Just because there's so much, that I don't concern myself with what
No, I think the
It was a
key
waste of
thing
our
that you just
time.
said, though, if you're not familiar with that type of violence, then maybe you need to keep your fucking mouth shut, right? Because it's
No, I won't say that because anybody is entitled to.
well, they're entitled to opinion, of course.
But he said, your opinion matters less.
It matters
to me,
less.
to
Well,
him.
it would be the same as a strength, somebody that's a
Yeah.
strength coach that's never lifted weights before.
Yeah.
Right? Yes, their opinion, they have the right to their opinion, but it's not going to matter very
Yeah.
much to most people.
Yeah.
So, and to disregard that fact as they were, hey, are you okay?
Yeah.
When you leave, like, you good? I'm good. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
You know,
they
that's-
didn't fucking know. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
Like, and at the time, they're like, oh, there's, if you'd have said in 2002, be like, it's going to be 20 years of this.
What?
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
20 years of what?
Yeah.
Afghanistan? Nah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And now you got guys that literally, they're talking about their kids patrolling
yeah.
with them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Their kids are now in the same unit in the Army. These dudes haven't retired, and it's like they're working together in Afghanistan. Like, holy shit.
Are we still in there?
Oh, I'm sure there are
Pockets.
some units, you know what I mean? Probably not shit that you'll hear about, but,
Yeah.
but a lot of that too, it's just that, guys, the contractors doing security for like UNICEF and shit like that, like the humanitarian stuff that the news doesn't care about is still happening. You know what I mean? A lot of it's changed, now because of,
Did you run into any PMCs there?
oh yeah, shitload of them. And they were doing, but that category is very broad.
I don't even know what
Yeah.
that means.
Private military contractors.
So you have dudes that are like
No, I get it.
Blackwater, but you also have dudes that are electricians.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And guys running heavy equipment, digging wells and shit
Yeah.
like that. Like it's the military aspect of it, like as far as conventional people consider it, shoot guns, drop bombs, kill each other. Very small in regard to the whole picture.
I remember reading something. I don't think it was Blackwater, but they were talking about, private military. He's like, I was part of the war fighting unit or whatever. And I was like, he's like, well, there's so many other guys that were in Blackwater that aren't what you consider.
Yeah,
like,
they're doing logistics and shit like that. And,
doing plumbing work.
yeah, but you've also got, two, in 2002, and we were over there. Afghanistan was one of the heaviest mined countries on the planet.
Yeah,
It's
the
not
old
that way anymore.
the Soviet.
Yeah, the Russians would just come in and drop bombs, and they would literally just push airdrop fucking anti-personnel mines out in mountain passes. And it's not that way anymore. So,
Yeah, there was a ton of mines from when the Soviets were in Afghanistan. Yeah.
so to say like, oh, it's a waste of time, be like, well, did you consider this?
Yeah.
You're just speaking just on the military side.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's also too that's so many levels just above my,
Yeah.
because like I said, what I was doing in 2003, 2005 over there is vastly different than the guy that was there 2018, 2019, guys that were, part of getting everybody out, which was a shit show.
Yeah.
There are things that I feel about that are,
Well, I think that's what gets caught up when you're talking about the media and the people's, because that's their last perception. That's the only perception that they see. So they're not seeing the previous 17 years or whatever the fuck it was.
well, with that too, you just kind of, my understanding was it was essentially like middle of the night, like, hey, get your shit, we're fucking leaving tomorrow.
Are we telling anyone? Nope.
Fuck them. But you know what I mean? You had dudes over there, a lot of local nationals and stuff that were like translators
Yeah.
for years.
Yeah.
Guys that are working, just on base doing laundry, shit like that. You know what I mean? Like these dudes have essentially dedicated their life to coalition services being there. And then
Later.
they're like, yo,
Here's a letter of recommendation.
yeah. Have your boss call me and I'll tell him, you know what I mean? And they just like, and these dudes, like,
They're
like,
dead.
they're going to come through and kill these motherfuckers. But that's why you got dudes that are climbing onto the fucking wheel wells of these planes as they take off.
That's a better option. Think about that for a
Well, I
second.
mean, it's one of those, like, this is how bad I need out of here. That I will attempt to ride this fucking plane out via the wheel well.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, I
it's
get it. I
funny.
get it.
Well,
No, I
you
get
know,
it. I get it.
You see videos of these dudes
Yeah.
at 1,500 feet falling off. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? He didn't let go. He got blown off that motherfucker. You know what I mean? And he saw that, like Jim said, he saw that as more viable option than
I always
stay here and let them take care of my
think
family.
when the Twin Towers were hit, the people that jumped. I mean, think about you being God
Yeah.
knows how far, and that's a better option than
Yeah.
what's
fucking heat.
Yeah. So, wow. Well, this wasn't.
Yeah. So when did the fire department come into play? Because now you're fat, bloated at 300 and some pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't bloated. It was just a little.
You were bloated,
I was
dude. I
retaining,
can find pictures.
I was retaining a little water.
A little.
A little salt at McDonald's.
A lot of it was hidden by
First
the
of all,
beard.
this is the least gay mustache I've ever seen.
Yeah. A lot of it was hidden.
That's a
beard.
side effect of your AIDS medication, right?
Well, that's what. Yeah, that's a big part of it. The AZT makes it kind of weird. But no, I had to. Dude, I realized like if I want to grow a mustache, I have to go like Dave, like fucking Hulkamania, until it gets to a certain length. Otherwise, you look like a fucking pedophile.
Yeah. Well, the handlebar thing was kind of weird, man.
Yeah, like I don't really.
Dude, that what you rocked
It had like
though, man.
3 loops in it.
But no, fire department, like it was. I just kind of back and forth between like shit jobs, and I'd realized at this point.
Here's the shitty thing I'm going to say, and I know I'll just cut you off, so go fuck yourself.
That's why we're friends.
Jason is one of the best dudes I've ever known in my life, and I'd have, like you said, you're working shit jobs. He's got a million better things to offer than what he was doing, and I was just waiting for him to get his shit together.
It's a lot of people.
Yeah, well, I'll just, and I knew Jason was destined for much better things. Does that make sense?
Yeah, porn.
And I'm fucking, yeah. You even sucked at that. Hey-oh. He's always bukkaking and getting bukkake.
That was before OnlyFans. He could kill it right now.
Right. That's right. Oh, remind me. Just OnlyFans. Look at me. OnlyFans. Okay, I got to tell you something. I'll tell you too, brother. But you got to remind me. Anyway, so go ahead. I'm just saying, like, I'm so happy that you got your shit together and did something better.
But I was actually at a meet in Columbus and sitting down next to a fucking dude that I didn't know at the time. Dude's now Bobby Vash is his name. He is a captain of Columbus Fire. We're just bullshitting and talking. He's like, I'm a fireman, this and that. Talking. He's actually the dude that kind of got me like, I want to say kind of not necessarily turned on to it, but one of those like, oh, this is maybe something you could consider. And long story short, I ended up going through it. And it's a point in my life where I'm like, school's not really going fucking well. Like I just don't. I had family shit come up, and it's one of those like I'm gonna do more. I'm trying to take care of my kids. I'm not as much concerned about this fucking class, as I am, shit that's going on with, what was now my ex-wife, and she's my ex-wife for a reason, many reasons. Jim's familiar.
Back at IO.
She fucking hates Jim. Hates. Yes.
Holy shit, Dave! I'll tell you some stories sometime.
God,
Fuck me.
They're so fucking.
I
good.
got so.
They're so
I remember,
bad. But I can't. Like I'm not gonna say anything. I could.
I'll cut you off if you start.
No. My both of my boys are into the weights and shit now, and like they'll look at it, and I don't want to. I could. I'm not going to speak poorly of their mother.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I said, there was a lot. You guys can talk about it later because it's fun. But I'm not going to blast their mom. But yeah, so I talked to him, and he's like, check it out. My wheels are kind of fucking spinning. I'm like, what? We'll give this a fucking rip. Ended up going. Went to community college here in Columbus State. They have a fire program that's pretty decent. As far as that goes. Went there. You have to be certified to be a fireman, EMT. Did that. Kind of spun around for a little bit, some shit jobs, and then got was actually painting train cars at a place, and had applied to some departments, and one of the departments called, and they're like, hey, you interested? And I'm like,
hell yeah.
Yeah, that's fucking good. Well, I had been trying to get on at Columbus. Big. Nobody wants to fucking work in the amateurs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nobody's like, I think minor league baseball.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And here in Ohio, Columbus actually has the 13th largest department in the country. You know what I mean? So it's like, well, I was waiting to hear back from them, and it was like, well, this is gonna be my chance to get into the fire service. Even if I wait and it takes more time in Columbus. So I ended up taking that job. working in the city of Marion. And I was there about a year, and Columbus called, and they're like, hey, you want a job? And I'm like, fuck yeah, I do. And then came down, started working in Columbus. I've been here 5.5 years now. Columbus.
Was it what you thought?
No.
How so?
Well, let me expand on that. Let me say that. Because in general, I'm going to say no. But
as far as how much activity you would be doing?
way more EMS. That's, I'm not going to say it's my fault, but that's a choice that I make. I work at one of the busiest stations in the city.
Yeah.
A lot of Narcan.
Yeah, a lot of Narcan. I work on the hilltop. You guys are familiar. Literally a half mile from West Side.
Just so everyone knows where West Side was.
West Side, motherfuckers,
Oh, yeah.
Bob Cove. Fuck.
Yep.
Right on in London, right by the Wendy's kind of thing, there is a billboard for Narcan.
Yeah.
A billboard.
Oh, it's everywhere.
Jesus.
But
all right, go ahead.
way more EMS, and the EMS stuff is it's a lot of it I would consider non-emergent. You know what I mean? It's guys with back pain or stomach aches, things like that. So that's different. You know what I mean? I don't necessarily have an issue with it, but that's different, and there's not nearly as much fire as.
You'd want.
Well,
I get it.
And I mean that's, but like
I
that's,
feel like I'm charged with something right now. I have to go do something.
well, it's one of those. The fire stuff is weird, okay? Because the neighborhood is a shithole. You know, I'm not trying to church it up. I'm not trying to make it bad, but it's not nice. You know, those people there are, you know, poverty level is extremely high. You know what I mean? It's not like these dudes have renters insurance and homeowners. So if their house burns, they lose everything. You know what I mean? Regardless if it's just like they get a fire in their kitchen and everything gets smoked up in the house. You know what I mean? Like they don't have insurance to replace that.
Yeah.
So they literally lose everything. So it's one of those, like, as a fireman, you absolutely want to see fires. You know? But by the same token, you don't want to
Watch these people lose everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a like, man, I want to work, but you know, it's tough to get upset when you don't. You know, so it's different in that sense. You know, that wasn't when I first got into it. That wasn't something that I considered. And then you go around and you know, you go in these people's houses and you see like there are some people, literally like mattress on the floor, and that's where 3 of them sleep in front of a television. And others, you know, they're hoarders and stuff like that. But it's just one of those. It's very different. You know what I mean? It's.
I think the one thing I always think when I hear about the police and firefighters is you're only seeing people at their low points or just shit when the shit hits the fan. It's got to be it's a thankless job in a lot of ways. And it's not like you get to go. You know, the head football coach and kick ass, and you get to experience the victories. It's like everything is just a fucking loss, man.
You know, there's a lot of that. You know, just shit with people. It's one of those, like Jim said, you know what I mean? It's like, and even if it may not be, you know, in your opinion, relevant to like, oh, this is terrible. Oh, it's so bad for these people. Like, why is this dude calling for a bellyache?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this dude has felt the need to call for that. But you see, you know, you hear people talk about like generational poverty and shit like that, and it's one of those like, wow, this is an actual fucking real thing. Like, I'm experiencing it.
Yeah.
You know, and just honestly, dude, like, it's just fucking like some of the shit. You're just like, how in the fuck does this happen? You know what I mean? Just like the matter you hear about like on the news, and you're like, wow, that happened. I was there for that.
Yeah.
Just, like, it's nuts.
So just so I'm going to ask you the question. So when you're you basically guys handle the same basic neighborhood all the time, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So how many do you get a ton of repeat customers of Narcan?
To be honest, man, I don't know. Like, I don't. Like, this sounds ridiculous, and it's funny. The chick I was dating, we would talk about it. You know, she's a Columbus cop, but like, I don't pay attention.
Yeah, you're just there to get the shit done. And
Well, there's that many.
No, like, I don't pay attention. If I took a run and you're like, oh, what's this person's name? You know, some basic.
Yeah,
name, like,
yeah.
I would have to look at the report that I've written, like, oh, this is Mike Smith. Like I can't even recall their name. I can tell you what we did, what was wrong with them, but I couldn't tell you. I mean, the Narcan, it's weird. Like it's up and down. You're starting to find a lot of it now. It's weird. The guys are smoking meth and crack and weed. Like it's not before, where guys are shooting heroin or snorting heroin, and now they're overdosing from that. Fentanyl's become so prevalent that they're just dropping it in everything because there's a shitload of it and it's cheap. You get real fucked up. You know what I mean? And it's one of those like, well, put it in the weed, and yeah, you smoke this fucking Mexican ditch weed that normally would suck, but it's got fentanyl in it you don't know. So now you're real fucked up. By the same token, you don't know that it's in there, so you have no idea how much you're ingesting. And I mean, like I ran on a woman in her 70s, was literally smoking for glaucoma, overdosed because they had dropped. Yeah, I mean, this has been a couple years ago, but still, but you know what I mean. Like a grandma literally is just like, I'm smoking for my glaucoma, and she said that like we had a Narcan her. I've had a Narcan an 18-month-old kid.
Oh my God.
Yeah, the parents are.
Oh, they left the shit out, huh?
Yeah, shit like that, and all over in between. Like it's just it's not as prevalent as the news would lead you to believe, but it's still pretty pervasive, But it's like that with poor people anywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Drugs
The fentanyl and the Narcan's not just the poor people. It's
it's not, but it's much more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We run way more overdoses on the Hilltop than they take in New Albany or Upper Arlington.
Upper Arlington, I was just about to say.
You know what I mean? Like it's one of those. Like there are people with money that overdose, but
not to the same.
Yeah. But you don't. Maybe per capita is the same. I would venture that you don't have as many drug users in New Albany or Upper Arlington that you have.
Yeah. So if that's the shitty
Avenue.
side, what are the positive things that you've seen that you didn't expect?
There are a lot of community organizations that help, the human trafficking, hookers, stuff like that. They do a lot with them. They're pulling a lot of those women out and getting them set up with programs. They do a lot with. They have its.
Do you think that trafficking, all that stuff, is much more prevalent than people understand?
1,000%.
Yeah. God, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
In Ohio. I mean, I know it's everywhere.
And that's the thing, but like cartels, huge on the west side. That's where a lot of the drugs and shit like that come from. Drug cartels. They're also into a lot of the trafficking, things like that. Yeah, that's absolutely a thing. But there's a lot of programs, the city of Columbus has done. Just, the state is funded, whatever, where they're doing, and, there are a lot of police officers over there that do that are into the, they're just into that. Like everybody in these jobs finds something that they're into. For a lot of these police officers, they get into the trafficking stuff. Like it's a big deal to them. And they can get these women, help. A lot of them don't want it or won't take it, but it's available. Yeah. Things like that, like a lot of social programs that everybody hates. There have been a lot of people that have saved members of their family because they've gotten free Narcan. You know what I mean? Columbus Public Health passes it out. You're like, oh, why are they giving Narcan?
They were passing that shit out at the Arnold. They were doing, it was crazy.
They pass out Narcan. Everybody's like, why don't they pass out insulin? Why don't they pass out EpiPens? It's one of those, like, I get it.
But you're seeing at the grassroots level that it's actually saving people's lives.
Like this guy over here, his, because a lot of them, there are a lot of people still live with their parents, like 30s and 40s, where a 70-year-old mom is giving her 40-year-old kid Narcan. You know what I mean? Just shit like that, so it's frustrating at times for me just because it's like, God damn it, this again. But by the same token, overall, it's a huge net positive. Everybody, they're like, oh, it shouldn't be on the city to do that. But like, by the same token, you know what I mean? It's one of those, like, it's take care of the people.
Yeah.
You are correct.
Like they pass out fentanyl test strips. Which before you'd be like,
That's what they were passing out at the Arnold. That's what it
fentanyl
was.
test strips
Yes.
and
While we were
What's
waiting,
that?
they're test strips that
Like
you
a-
can.
like the ketone strips almost.
Yeah, same type deal. I don't know exactly how they work. I don't use much fentanyl in my personal life
Yeah, I mean,
anymore.
what do they do? Like smoke the fucking thing and then blow it on the strip?
But,
I mean,
but I'm assuming it's like, you know, get the strip wet, put it in your drugs, and it'll
all right.
turn red or turn
Yeah,
green or what,
yeah.
you know, what have you. I'm not sure how they work, but like they give that shit away. You know, like now with the fuck, like I said, with it being in weed and fucking meth. Like, could you imagine smoking meth full of fentanyl? Like, how fucking backwards is that? Like, I'm looking to get geeked up and not sleep for 4 fucking days.
Yeah.
But maybe I want to come down with it too.
Yeah.
You know, so they use shit like that. You know, people, a lot of very loud, very differing opinions on it. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's one of those like, well, that's good for the people. So, you know, how you feel about it is how you feel about it.
What about the guys you work with?
What do you mean?
Are they good dudes?
Oh, yeah, I worked with some great dudes.
Yeah. That's what makes I just see it as like you guys get to work together with some great guys, even though it might be shitty out there. Everyone's tight and solid
Yeah,
together.
absolutely.
And I already know exactly what goes on in the wherever the building you guys are in. The amount of shit talking.
Dude, you have no idea.
Yeah, I
Like,
do.
It's like, no, you don't. I mean, it's an incessant amount of shit talking, but dude, it's like everybody fucks with each other all the time.
But that's what you guys need.
Like fireworks and
Yeah.
you know, you get air horns and shit like that. Just like it's just ridiculous. And we make the joke like it's funny. It's like somebody has decided to give 14 of us
Yeah.
this $6 million building and all these fire trucks, and then they're just
Let's
like,
see what happens.
yeah, they're just like,
That's awesome.
you guys go ahead and do what you're supposed to, and you know, like you be good.
Yeah, just keep the shit clean.
You know what I mean? Yeah, we're gonna come through, you know, in 2 months and check it out, make sure it's clean. If something breaks, let us know.
So we talking exactly 2 months? Like, what's the date?
Well, it's funny, dude. They do they actually do house inspections every year, and ours is coming up. So like,
Everyone's.
oh, I mean, dude, like my boss is a maniac for it. It's awesome. We give him shit. He doesn't give a fuck. He's a great dude to work for. Super intelligent. Has like 500 years on. Well, they call him Pup. That's his nickname. But the dude's literally been on the department since he was like 19 or 20. He's 45 now. He can't retire yet because they have a minimum retirement age.
Oh,
so he's got the time on. Well, dude, he'll fucking like if he never retired, I wouldn't be surprised. Like he just fucking loves it. But he's an amazing dude to work for. But he is like hardcore about this fucking shit. Like he's popping ceiling tiles and like we're dusting the back of ceiling tiles. I'm like, dude, I mean, it's like it's fucking next level shit. And I'm like, dude, are you serious? Like, what the fuck? But it's you know, but they do come in and check, you know, every so often.
Who comes in and checks? I'm just curious. I know this is.
They have a bunch like my shit's not.
Is it a
working. Can you
state-
hear
Well,
me?
your
Is it-
headphones, I can hear you.
Oh, I can't fucking hear me.
Is it state level?
No, it's department level. You get a bunch of
okay.
chiefs and.
All right, I got you.
I think his headphones came out.
Did they?
I can hear him. He's fine. You're still good. You can keep talking.
That's why I said I didn't know.
Yeah.
Cool beans. Yeah, no, they'll come in like once a year and they'll go through and they'll check and like they'll check everybody's gear to make sure that it's functional, you know,
Yeah.
your fire gear, stuff like that. And
Which you
make-
kind of want to be functional.
yeah, it's somewhat well, and it's funny, dude, you get into that, but like these old heads, like it used to be a thing where like how filthy your shit was, like oh salty, like you know now you know everything in a fucking fire is gonna give you cancer and kill you. But these old dude, you know, it was like a thing to where filthy ass gear is a big deal. Like, oh, this guy goes into fires, his gear's all fucking filthy. So now they come in and they're like, they make sure your shit's clean. You know what I mean? And stuff like that, just general maintenance around, you know, the station, things like that. But everybody goes over the top, and it's funny because we talk about it, and I'm like, I can't figure it out. Like, these dudes know, these dudes that come in and check, we're all, because everybody in the department, for us, you know, the chief of the department started as a firefighter.
They all know.
Well, yeah, like you guys have all done this. You know how this is fucking going. Like, why don't we stop doing this fucking shit? Like, we clean it every day. You know what I mean? So it's just weird, but these dudes come in and they check the stuff and they're like, hey, everything's cool, and you get signed off and they go on to the next one. But they do that every year. And that's what we're in the middle of it now, and it's just busy.
Do you wish you would have got into it sooner?
I don't have a good answer for that.
Yeah.
Getting into it sooner would put me closer to retirement, which would be awesome, because I don't want to be 70 years old still trying to work as a fucking fireman.
Yeah.
Just for the physical aspect.
Do you think you were? Let's just pretend. How old are you?
44.
So do you think you had the maturity to have this vision when you were 32?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But along those lines, like, it would have been cool to get into, like my boss, you know, got into it at 19 or 20. There are dudes that are hired now are 19 or 20. Like, if I'd have been hired at 19 or 20, I'd probably be in prison. Because I was not.
Yeah, yeah,
you know,
yeah.
in any state, you know, at that point. But by the same token, I would not trade, you know, good, bad, or indifferent. I wouldn't trade any of the life experiences that I've had to say, oh, yeah, I'd like another 4 years, you know.
Yeah.
Like, let's just drop this part of my life so I had 4 extra years in the fire department. Yeah. You know, it's cool, but it's not like I wouldn't trade it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. How has your training changed? Because obviously you're not powerlifting. So when you started getting into this, obviously you had to train to actually pass the shit.
I mean, yeah, but it's the standards are not awful. You know what I mean? Weird thing about the fire service is there is no national standard. There's not a state standard. The police,
really?
Yeah, in Ohio, the police have minimum standards to enter the police academy and to graduate to police academy. You don't have that with fire department. They have some national standards, like for VO2, but as far as like a training thing, there's not a standard.
Is that just up to the department then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So like for us, it was essentially the same as it was in the military at the time. It was pull-ups, 2 minutes push-ups, 2 minutes sit-ups, a mile and a half run, and 12 minutes, I think. And like their minimums, so long you met the minimums, good to go. Now they do.
Wait, 2.5 mile run and what?
A mile and a half run.
Mile? I think you said 2.5.
No, mile and a half run, 12 minutes.
Dude, you're flying.
Yeah. So I mean, they're dudes.
Mile.
They're dudes. I think the fastest dude that we've had has turned it over in just over 8.
That's
for a mile and a half, but he's built like a stick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's weird. You know, they're like, the strength training stuff's cool. Try and do more cardio type shit, like actual cardio. The CrossFit bullshit is pervasive in the fire service. I blame, like we were talking about earlier, blame social media for a lot of it. CrossFit and training your fucking gear, which is the dumbest fucking shit that I can imagine.
It's like lifting with your helmet on.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's shit like that. Like these dudes get on these fucking step mills, you know, with all their fucking bunker gear on. And like, that's cool if you're trying to impress your friends. You know, from a training aspect, it's fucking ridiculous. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that thing holds in heat and restricts your range. Like, these are two things that you don't want if you're trying to improve cardiovascular output.
Yeah.
You know, or strength, anything. Like, this works completely against it.
Yeah.
But you got these dickheads that want to put it on and like, oh, look at me. You're like, yeah, you look like a fucking idiot.
YouTube.
Yeah,
or whatever.
Know? Like, I'm sure your kid brother's super impressed, and you know,
no one here is.
Yeah,
yeah.
Like, I fully believe that you look like a fucking idiot right now. You know, just the CrossFit stuff, like it's, you know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't. You know, a lot of dudes do it, and then like the legitimate like cardiovascular training is severely underemphasized. You know, especially, I mean, you see anywhere, you know, city Columbus, it's a best fire department in the country, best police department in the country. There are fat fucks everywhere. You know what I mean? Like guys, like not even like overweight, but dudes that are like physically, like morbidly obese.
Do you ever think this is not for police, but this would be a firefighter. Do you feel, or do you feel most guys have, this is similar to the Army, like, I'm not just doing this shit for me. I got to make sure my buddy's safe too.
Oh, absolutely.
So does that make sense? Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
your training means more than just saving your ass.
Yeah, and
That would piss me off if some guy.
Well, there's a lot of training that we do specific to that.
Yeah, but I think what he's saying is now you get this guy that's fucking morbidly obese and he can't move.
Yeah, now
A lot of that.
Yeah.
You know, they are a lot of stuff like that are you know, high intensity, very low frequency events. You know what I mean? The city of Columbus is and this is such an anomaly. It's been almost 37 years since they've had a firefighter die in the line of duty. You know what I mean? We had a couple guys. There was a guy at my station that died from COVID that they call what they call line of duty deaths. You know, he got COVID at work.
Yeah, but it's
died from it.
Yeah.
But I'm talking like a guy that died in a fire. I want to say it was 88. It's the last time a guy named John Nance died in a fucking, it was an arson fire downtown. Still unsolved.
I can't believe that's 37 years ago, and it's 88. I was like, dude, that's like 2 decades.
But I'm pretty sure it was 88. I can't
Whatever.
remember. I can't remember. But like that was the last time that we had a fireman that died in a fire. You know, so for us, it's a lot of complacency to it. You know, the fact is too, we put an insane amount of bodies on a fire. You know, you'll get a working house fire. You'll get
So there's not 5 guys shouldering the load.
no.
There's a shitload of guys.
No.
All
You have that at you know, some smaller places. Like with us, it's literally you could line the dudes up and probably walk across the fire ground and just stomp it out in your fucking boots. You know,
you're up next, Carl.
Yeah, exactly. There's so many people. You know what I mean? Which is not
That's a
bad
good thing.
problem to have.
Yeah.
You know, it sucks because you're like, you know, like I said, they're low frequency, so you want to get there and fucking do it.
Do you think? I'm going to guess that Columbus police have lost a lot of people. Like, not death. I'm talking about the numbers game. Or have they not? Because I know some department. The way I'm going is, do you think a lot more people are going over to the firefighters because there's a little more appreciation?
No, I don't think that I don't think that plays any part into it.
Okay.
People have hated cops for as long as I've been alive. It's much more amplified now because of social media, so on and so forth. But you know what I mean? The people that were going to fight the cops 20 years ago, the same people that are going to fight the fucking cops today. You know, there's no more, no less of them. They're much more vocal now. They have a platform now.
I'm just
whereas
curious
before
if
they didn't.
It seems like in the world, cops are hated and everyone loves the firefighters. And it just.
I mean, you see that. You know, I've had dudes swing on me and.
You know I'm carrying an axe, right?
Well, it's funny. The thing is, it's not that. It's one of those, like, you know, two things. I don't have a body camera, and I've received no training from the division, so there's not a
Liability.
I don't have a use of force escalation policy. You know, so that's pretty much stopped everything there. But you know, the people that I know that are cops, like it's, you know, it's funny. Everybody talks about the morale being low. Like, I don't know anybody. It's like, you know, there are a couple of people like, I don't like it, but most of them are like, I love my fucking job. Girl I dated was a cop, fucking loved it. And she's literally 5'3" and 140 pound redhead, like, you know, over here, like she's just getting trashed verbally. It's like, that's cool. You know what
That's
I mean?
good to hear, man. I'm glad. Well, not that she's getting trashed,
But I mean, you know, it's one of those, like, most of them are like, they're there because they want to be, not like, oh, this is, you know, so terrible. You know, they're obviously very well financially incentivized for it. Columbus in particular has a bunch of shit they can do, which is not relevant to anything, but they can make real good money as a cop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which helps. You know, there are a couple, like I can think of 3 guys on the department that were Columbus cops that are now Columbus firemen. You know, and they're like, oh, it's so much better. But, you know, you got 3 dudes, like
3 dudes out of a
1,500.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's tough to say. But yeah, I don't think, you know, they got the new chief, and it's funny because she's very polarizing. Everybody I've talked to about her fucking loves her. But, you know, there are some some old people, older administrators, and they fucking hate her. Hate.
This isn't the fire department or police?
This is police.
Mm-hmm.
The chief that we've got is pretty much universally loved and respected. Like you could probably count on one hand the number of guys that don't love that dude.
Mm-hmm. Because he didn't make good chili when he was in the department. Who makes the chili in your firehouse?
We got a dude.
His name is Cookie.
No, Mike Hatem's his name. He's been, and this is kind of wild. He's worked at the 17th station I work at for 33 fucking years. Like,
Really?
yeah, he's been there forever.
33?
Yeah, same station.
So what is he, like 55 or something?
No, he's like 200.
Yeah.
It's funny, dude.
He's got like, he's a biblical age guy.
200.
He's like 900.
Yeah, so the captain's 500 and this dude's 200.
Yeah, all these old heads. But he cooks every day, 2 meals a day.
Oh, that's awesome. When I occasionally go to Kroger's, I see the fire department there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, holy shit! Oh, they're just here for the food.
Yeah.
They're pulled right up there. I'm like, oh my god, what's going on? They always got just big sacks of stuff.
Yeah, and that's like, like for us, he's cooking for 14. He's cooking 2 meals for 14 dudes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's not you and Juliet and the boy.
Yeah.
You know, like yeah.
There's no leftovers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there is.
You know what I mean.
There's always a shitload.
Yeah.
And it's funny, the fucking Midnight Mouse, like it just.
What happened?
As the evening progresses.
The carrot cake just gets a little less and less.
Dude, yeah. Like they'll make pizza on Saturdays, and they'll make 7 or 8 fucking pizzas, and there's a shitload of it left, after dinner.
And then
the next morning you're up, and shift change, and there's like 4 pieces of pizza left, and you're like, oh, that's weird. Just up and disappeared.
Yeah, I wonder where that went.
Yeah. But no, it's I think, you're talking about like, I'm sure there are pockets of people that are pissed off, Columbus, like, where they just had this fucking huge buyouts for all them dudes. I'm sure the guy that was 5 guys out from getting that $200,000 to retire is probably pissed off. But
I'm not even familiar with what you're talking about.
Columbus administration, their big thing, they try and get the community closer to the police department. They've had those issues.
Win hearts and minds. Does that sound familiar?
It's the structure. They don't have any free fire zones in Columbus. A little different than Vietnam.
I know.
But they've done some things to essentially usher in new leadership. Mm-hmm. The chief they have, from my understanding now, and they now have a first assistant chief, which was not a position before. They're both out of Detroit, which is the first time that they've promoted from outside of the department. Yeah. But they offered 100 people $200,000 apiece to essentially
to retire early.
Yeah.
They had some you had to have like 25 years on, essentially meet the retirement stuff. So they had those people they got rid of, which was 100 bodies gone. They had some deputy chiefs. There were 5 deputy chiefs, I believe, for the police department, and they offered them money. They offered them $300,000 the first time. All 5 of them were like, nope, nah. They come out. They offered them $500,000 a piece, and they're like, all right. And it's wild too, because that money is from the city. It's not part of your pension. Mm-hmm. So they retired, draw their pension, and the city of Columbus just cut them a check for $500,000. Mm-hmm. But they're doing that to try and get some new bodies in there, which I don't work on the police side, so I can't say, oh, this is good for them, or oh, this is bad for them.
Yeah.
Or I just, I see it the same as you guys do.
Yeah.
From the outside, like, oh, it kind of burns my ass, because our last contract, we took a 0.
Yeah.
For a raise 1 year. For a raise 1 year, and then it's like, you're giving these dudes $20 million? 100 dudes?
Wow.
But I mean, it's one of those, like, you can't fucking do anything about it. It's like, ouch, kind of stings. Especially when they're like, defund the police and all that bullshit. Like the city wasn't doing that, but the administration was not doing that. There were some citizens that were, and then it's like, they gave them the raise they got on their last contract was insane. And we took a 0. So it's like, wow. fuck the firemen, dude. Fuck them. Get rid of those assholes. Give us that money.
All right, questions here.
Yes, sir.
One of them was about kids and pressing. You know, it's
Kids and what now?
This is kind of a long fucking question. The question is, you know, is working with high school kids.
Okay.
And the overhead press, the incline press, the floor press, all these secondary presses are going up. The bench press is not. I kind of know the answer here, but should he be concerned that the primary, like the bench press, isn't going up when all the other presses are?
This is for high school athletes? No,
yeah.
It doesn't matter. They're getting stronger. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Well, it's, you know, it's one of those, as far as that goes, like, what's the importance of the metric to him?
Yeah.
Not like he's a college dude.
Yeah, it's not like they have to test out. Yeah. So just like as an simple, like the kids need to do some kind of pressing motion, some kind of lower body, some kind of pulling. As long as you're getting stronger in something, you're good to go. You're good to go.
All right, from your Q&A that you guys did before.
Oh, no.
Jesus.
All right. Pause deadlifts or touch and go deadlifts?
Yes.
That was the answer I didn't expect at all.
Yeah.
I mean,
Because it answers both.
well, here's my stance on that, you know, to get into it a little bit, because I'm sure that's what somebody's asking for. There are 3 kinds of techniques. You have safe, unsafe, and perfect technique. Okay. So long as you fall into the safe or perfect,
Yeah, you're good to go.
which perfect is bullshit. You're not going to do that with any weights worth fucking picking up more than once. So long as the technique is good, either one is completely fine.
Well, all you have to do is look at the evidence. Is some guys that do dead stop deadlifts do very well, and some guys do touch and go and they do incredibly well. One of the things I think maybe you have to take in consideration where you're weak at. So, for example, if your lockout is weak, touch and go would probably be better. If you're incredibly good off the floor, who cares? If you're very slow off the floor, maybe that's something, you know, the dead stops might work better. But you know what? Like I said, it doesn't matter. People get so weird about that. It's, you know, it's one of the bad things about getting older. You realize, who gives a fuck?
I know, that's why I wanted to bring these up, right? Because the questions were 7 years ago.
Yeah, it's just like, dude, you can do, and so many great deadlifters have done both. So just find, and you know, maybe this year you like to do X, and next year you want to do Y. And the good thing is, whatever you choose, you have an example of success. Just like every diet in the world works because every diet has science behind it. Every diet, like you read a book on Atkins diet or something, there's all kinds of studies. And you read a book on a vegan diet, all kinds of studies. So whatever you want to do, there's there's a rationale for it, you know. So
Yeah, and that's like, I would say, like, part of it, you know, is a thing like Jim said. It's not a huge fucking deal, but you know, my boys are starting to get into training.
Yeah.
You know, I'm probably going to watch them. You know, my older son, say his technique is more solid, he can do the touch and goes. My younger son, who's just starting to deadlift, I want you to reset at the bottom because we're doing a deadlift, not a stiff leg or a Romanian.
that's a technique thing.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. But it's one of those that I would say it's more, like I said, is safe, you know, and focused on what we're trying to do with the exercise. You know, whoever the fuck ass that needs to roll backwards and be like, well, what are you trying to get out of it? Same way with the bench. You know what I mean? Like, well, the kids are getting stronger. What the fuck is the importance of the bench? You know, like in college, you have a bunch of buddies, side chick, what up, have a fucking, well, I mean,
I don't even know where that.
I don't even know where that's going either.
Hear me out. Okay. You know, they're collegiate strength and conditioning coaches. They have a head coach to answer to that's going to go, why is the fucking bench press number stagnant? You know, a dude at a high school, more likely than not, is somebody like Jim who's volunteering or is already on the staff, you know, as a wide receiver coach and lifted big in high school. So now he's a strength coach. He doesn't have to answer for anything. So it doesn't fucking matter, you know? So look backwards at it and find why is the bench important? You know, your offensive lineman knock a dude's dick stiff. Can they run block? You know, can your things like that, you know, if they're doing that, it doesn't fucking matter. You know, I think you'd find a lot of kids where he's like, oh, they're incline and they're military and, you know, the fucking 6-degree incline. But can they do 10 fucking push-ups?
Yeah, there's this.
You know what I mean? Like they can't stabilize their fucking upper bodies in space. Who gives a fuck what they bench? They're fucking kids. That's what you see all the time. And I'm just going to go on a fucking rant about this for a second. But you got these fucking NAIA division fucking 25 coaches.
25.
You know what I mean? They got their best athlete was a fucking 3-year starter on the JV team. You know, and they're worried about fucking range of motion on a rear foot elevated. It doesn't fucking matter. Little Billy sucks, and he probably, you know what I mean? Like, he's not that level of athlete that fucking needs this level of attention. And they just want to fucking, like, it's strength conditioning. These dudes make their jobs so fucking difficult for no reason. And it's mind-blowing to me.
I watched a workout at a major college football program. And during the, I don't know, a little over an hour, there wasn't a single, now, this was a strength training session, there wasn't a single weight lifted. It was all mobility. And like stuff like you were like, when are you guys going to do something? So it's just very strange. Like, I don't know. When we got rid of I say this all the time, but I keep on excising things from the program that I believe I was holding on to for personal reasons, or because, you know, maybe I thought we have whittled so many things down, it's ridiculous now. And part of it is, like Jason said, it's like, well, yeah, kid can't run a 7-minute mile. Like, run. Like, you should be able to run. Like, it doesn't matter if our rest times on our 20-yard, you know, sport-specific sprinting, like, they're not going to get any better at that if they just can't run. So, anyway. So what?
Well, one of the questions that comes up, and it's not one of these here, but it kind of pertains to that, is coaches will ask me, because the kids are so deconditioned, you know, where do you begin? And it's like, fuck, you just begin with where they're at.
Yes.
You know, if they have to walk, they walk.
I get that asked all the time, like progressions and stuff. Well, I have to see the athlete first.
Yeah.
Like, some kids, fucking cock diesel, dude. Just, you know, I mean, just amazing. Some kids, and I'm not exaggerating, we've had kids come in that can't even run a lap around the field. So it's just it's so varied, especially at the high school level, where a kid who is 14 or 15 versus a kid who's 7, it's a massive difference. It's only 3 or 4 years.
But the maturity difference.
But the maturity is massive.
Yeah.
So we have to take all that into account. But the trick is you have to be able to be a good enough coach to fit everything in, varying levels, all training at the same time, where this kid has to do X, Y, and Z. And he's doing the same movement maybe as Johnny, you know, All-American, but you just, you know, alter things out, you know, a little bit. So the thing I don't think people quite understand is when you are actually coaching's different than personal training, is you can't have 20 guys doing 20 different programs. It just doesn't work. Like, what are you supposed to do? Like, so that's where the art of coaching comes in. So.
Well, I mean, you're both working with your own kids, right? So that's the other question that comes up a lot. Like, well, what are you having your kids do? And before I jump off on that, I'm going to answer what I had my kids do, because they're, you know, 18, 19, 20, or whatever it is. My oldest, you know, Blaine, he works out once a week with Sheena. I mean, he's on the spectrum. He does what he does, but he likes to train once a week. So I had to step out of that because I wasn't able to actually be the coach for him that he needed to be.
It's very difficult.
Right? Because it's a different level of stuff. My youngest had no desire to train whatsoever. You know, likes cars, likes welding, right? So I embraced the fucking cars and the welding. You know, so this has been my whole entire life, but neither one of my kids is this their life, right? So as a father, isn't the goal to be able to lean into what they want to do with their lives?
Yeah, I always selfishly say, like, I'm super pumped up that Mason loves football and loves trading.
Yeah.
Because I get to share something of mine with him.
No, I would have loved that, but see, this is not, this is their life, right? It's not my life, you know, so.
But James is 11, and my wife and I stopped giving him choices on a lot of things. Like, we were parents being in, like, I told him, I don't care what the fuck you do, but this is what you're doing because it's important that you're healthy and strong.
Yes.
And so once we stopped fucking around, like, hey, maybe does he want to lift? Like, dude, you're lifting.
Yeah.
And you're doing what, and I've said this before, our workouts take 15 minutes. They're not very long. And, but over the year or so we've been doing it, the progress, like I wrestled James the other day, just effing around. He grabbed my neck and just fucking pulled me down. And I was like, holy shit. And he's still like a skinny kid. He still play the xylophone on his ribs. But I was like, good God. And what's going to be amazing is, and I'm not going to stop this until he's out of the house. Like if you're under our roof, you train. I can't imagine when all those reps start adding up. Like really, because you know how it is. Like, he's doesn't have any real development, and then all of a sudden, one summer he's just going.
Oh yeah.
Like remember all those curls and presses you did?
Yeah,
they're right there. So.
Yeah.
But I think physical, obviously, people listening to this podcast or whatever the fuck this is called. Everyone thinks that is in some way important. And I think as a parent, doesn't mean that there might be other things that you have to do. Like maybe your kid doesn't want to lift weights. Maybe he wants to do, I don't know, obstacle course or something.
Well, whatever. Health and
making,
nutrition is important.
Yes. But I think, and when I tell James all the time, it's like, James, we're training today. I'm like, it's 15 fucking minutes, kid. Get your shit together. You're going to be fine. And that's time that I get to spend with him too. So anyway,
That's
there you go.
My boys live with their mom in Indiana, so I don't get to play a role in it like Jim does. But they talk to me about stuff and things like that, and they send me videos. My youngest son.
That's awful.
Yeah, God, you're terrible. Who taught you how to do this?
You are where I was with my oldest.
Yeah, but the funny thing about it is, and this is kind of wild, the head football coach at the high school they go to now was a football coach for me.
Holy cow!
When I was dude's an animal, and he's just been around forever. But he was a dude that, taught me how to lift weights. You know what I mean? He was the guy that was running the weight room, and he's running the weight room there. My oldest boy is squat. Let's say squat. He's a fucking monster too. He's 6'4", probably 280. Ooh. He's soft. You know what I mean? He's not fucking jacked like me, but he will be eventually, maybe. But he's like squats like 405. And he's just lifting like a gym class. He played football one year and was like, I didn't really care for it. I'm like, okay, you tried it, didn't fucking like it, whatever. I wanted to, yeah, but I would never try and force it on him. My youngest was a freshman last year, his first year playing, and he's like, dude, this is so fucking awesome. Well, I mean, it's one of those, like, he struggled with the grades, and now he's like, I got to get good grades or they're not going to let me play.
Yeah, you have it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's purpose to what you're doing now.
Yeah, absolutely. But, they did a weightlifting competition, like at the high school, just like a bench and a squat, and I think they do the clean.
Yeah.
He's probably 160 pounds soaking wet, squatted 225, 15 years old, which is not world beating by any means, but like, fuck yeah, dude, get after it. That's awesome. Things like that.
Better than 125.
Yeah, exactly. And he loves it. So it's one of those. The funny thing now is my daughter. She's 7 and a maniac. Fucking nuts. Like, it's funny. I tell people this. Like, I thought women got crazy after puberty. And I'm finding now with the daughter, like, no, they're fucking born that way. That's an issue with the operating software. You know what I mean? But it's like, but she comes to the firehouse now, whoever bring her, and she'll come and hang out, and she doesn't give a fuck about the fire trucks anymore. It used to be a thing like kids are like, fire trucks. Oh, yeah. She's like, let's go in the basement, let's fucking work out, like, because we got a basement, there's power racks and shit, got a lot of strength equipment and stuff down there. She wants to go down there and fucking punch and kick the bags and get on the fucking rower and like bench. I'm like, dude, you can't. She gets pissed off because I'll take her to the gym with me sometimes, the evening, and she's like, can I work out? And I'm like, no, you're 7, they fucking won't let you.
Yeah.
They'll throw us both out of here, stuff like that. So it's like she's getting into it now, and it's like, I'm not going to turn her off to it, but it's nice because she can see us, you know, myself. She still does a lot with my ex-girlfriend, you know, who is the cop. You know, sees her not eating like dog shit, you know, working out, things like that. You know, so it's one of those that she sees like, oh, this is a big deal for people.
You mean setting a good example?
Yeah, exactly. You know,
write that down, dude.
Yeah, that's important. That's important. That's a big takeaway.
But I mean, you know, but it's like I said, she's 7. You know what I mean? She's like, oh, this is what people do every day. You know, it's not like when I was a kid, like my fucking old man, like worked, you know, and mom worked, but like they weren't exercising and shit like that. So I just came into it, you know, like in high school. You know, she's 7 years old and knows what a fucking squat and a deadlift are. She's not very strong. You know, she can't whip my
I hold that against her
yeah,
personally.
Yeah, she can't whip my ass.
Well,
So
it's,
she didn't
I
make
mean,
any choices, but
it's fucking an interesting thing that just went through my mind, right? Because my parents didn't fucking work out. I'm sure Jim's parents didn't work out.
No, my parents trained.
You know, they did train.
Yeah, it was.
You know, where we have more kids
yeah.
being raised with parents that train, but yet the kids are fucking awful.
Well, I think there's a lot of layers to that.
yes.
I don't think people are training as much as you think.
Yeah.
Your world, they are.
I mean, yeah.
That's the problem.
I've realized I live in a bubble.
Yeah, and so there's such a genetic factor to obviously environmental genetic too. But the thing that my wife and I realize, it's like it's on us, man. Everything from education to their health to everything, you can't rely on anyone else. And that doesn't mean you can't hire help. But if you're expecting the schools to educate your children, to get them physically fit, any of that stuff, it's just not going to happen. And it sounds like, I'm not trying to be negative, but like that's your job, man. It's your kid. Like,
No, I mean, you make an important point because, you know, over Easter I went, you know, home, I'm talking to my mom, and same scenario. You know, I grew up in special education classes and all this other stuff, but she's fighting the principal and fighting everybody there to make sure I had the tutors and the help that I needed. Had she not done that, I'd be a complete idiot. I wouldn't just be an idiot. I'd be a fucking total idiot.
He said would be.
Yeah, would be. Exactly. See? Right? And so, God, think of how bad it would have been. Right? So now we're going back fucking 40 years. You know, so it's kind of always been this way. Where I think a lot of parents just they don't understand that.
Well,
you have to pay attention.
Yeah, and that's, it's a constant, like my wife and I like get frustrated because like you can't turn your back on anything, or shit, stuff just goes to shit.
Why would you want to? They're your kids.
I know, but but why you want to is because it's easier. It's easier to pass the blame. It's easier to not care, and it's hard. Like training James is not a hard thing, but it's work. It's like it's all I do is like work with people and train it, and it's fun. I love it, but man.
No, I get it.
Can't you just fucking appreciate this, man?
Yeah.
And it's just like, no, that's not his job. Is not to love everything. It's my job to be a parent. So, I think that the thing that always, the thing that prevents a lot of people from doing this is thinking that these kids need to be in there in an hour, 6 days a week. Like you just need 5 to 10 minutes, a couple times a week. And it makes a huge difference. Like just pretend, like when COVID hit, I got to get rolling in about 12 minutes.
Yeah,
when COVID hit, everyone's like, well, I can't work out. I'm going to get overweight. I'm like, dude, you're at home. You can do push-ups and squats and like
walk around the block.
Yeah, a long time. And I'm like, go watch a TV show and see how many squats you can do in an hour. And let's just say, you could do sets of 10 every 3 minutes, and you're watching TV for 8 hours. That starts adding up.
Oh yeah.
God, I could not watch TV I'd fucking die. Even without the squats, I would fucking probably shoot myself.
Yeah, but the point is you're gonna kind of have to take it upon yourself. That's like, oh, the gym's closed. Well, fucking find a way, man. And don't tell me you don't. Guys in prison get it done, and they have what is it like? How big is a prison cell? I don't even know. You can touch the walls if you got a big wingspan. So anyway, all right.
I think we're going to shut it down.
Did you get first detachment?
What's that?
Did you get first detachment?
Yeah. All right. So we're done.
Nope. Later, bros.
I have the